Islam, Islam, Islamism. Bismillah, ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. First and foremost, I'd like to rise to my highest of heights and give all preferred praise to our Father God Allah, acknowledging our ancestors, known and unknown, recognizing and naming all true and divine prophets, Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, Confucius, and the last prophet in these days and times, our illustrious Hebrew prophet, Noble Jew Ali, in his first, second, and third form. I would like to remain standing and extend those honors to our National Grand Sheikh, Joe Bratton Bey, all national officials at headquarters in Baltimore, Maryland, all sheiks, sheikesses, deputy sheiks, and deputy sheikesses, and all of our friends, visitors, guests, citizens, members, students, children. I greet you all with Islam. Today's date for the record is April 11th, 2021, according to the Gregorian calendar. And as always, we open with paying homage to our Mother, Father, God, Allah. So can I please have everyone who is able to stand erect, facing towards the east, heels together, toes apart, separated at a 45-degree angle, upper arms parallel to the floor, forearms perpendicular, 5 fingers erect and together on the left, and 2 fingers erect and together on the right. Allah, Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation, by night and by day, through his holy prophet, Drew Ali. Ameen. We'd like to welcome you all to our National Town Hall Educational Forum call, being brought to you by the Moorish Science Temple, the Divine and National Movement of North America Incorporated, number 13, the Moorish American National Republic, under the guidance and direction of our National Grand Sheikh, Joel Bratton Bey. I am the moderator for this evening's call. I am Brother Cornelius Sanders Bey, calling out of Lake County, Florida Republic. And I'll be going into our administrative announcements. Our first announcement will be given by myself. On behalf of the Moorish Science Temple, the Divine and National Movement of North America Incorporated, number 13, the Moorish American National Republic, I would like to thank the guests that are on this Moorish National Town Hall meeting, and we thank you for joining us this evening. Our prophet, Noble Jew Ali, founded the ancient Canaanite temple in 1913 in Essex County, New Jersey. Later, in 1916, his missionary work was entitled The Moorish Divine and National Movement. In 1917, he transferred the movement to Cook County, Illinois. In 1925, the temple was called the Moorish Temple of Science. In 1926, the temple was incorporated as a civic organization. In 1927, the temple was unofficially adopted as the Moorish Holy Temple of Science. Our prophet, Noble Jew Ali, stated that the Negro problem is being solved only as it can, and that is by the Moorish Divine and National Movement. If you have a nation, you must have a free national name in order to be recognized by this nation as an American citizen. After lawfully connecting with the private international laws of the Pan American Conference in 1928, the temple's name was changed to the Moorish Science Temple of America. The temple was then incorporated as a religious organization under the Illinois Revised Statutes in Cook County, giving the temple and its members national and international power. During this same period of time, unfaithful members of the Moorish Science Temple of America in Chicago and Detroit conspired to destroy the positive existence of the movement, causing great confusion. This is the reason for the misunderstanding of the national side of the movement amongst all Moorish Americans until this very day. Our prophet Noble Jew Ali stated that Chicago is doomed and Detroit must go down for what they did to I, your prophet. Afterwards, in 1929, our prophet Noble Jew Ali made his transition to the plane of soul. Our purpose of establishing this meeting on Sundays is to properly educate people on what the Negro problem really is and to educate people concerning the national side of the movement of our prophet Noble Jew Ali so that you may receive a clear understanding of it. Our prophet Noble Jew Ali also stated, "Come, all ye Asiatics of America, and hear the truth about your nationality and birthrights, because you are not negroes." In other words, all calling themselves negroes, black people, color folk, Afro American, Latino, Puerto Rican, Hispanic, or any other such names that allude to slavery. You are not these. Your nationality has been taken away from you, and your birthrights have been stolen from you by way of your original birth certificate, social security card, and your state ID/driver's license, which is why clear color copies, both front and back from these, is required from you when applying for Moorish American citizenship as you transform from your lower self to your higher self while working towards your actual freedom and becoming free national Moorish American citizens. You have ignorantly contracted into the jurisdiction of the federal U.S. government corporation. Thus, your nationality is United States. You have surrendered your free national state citizenship by registering yourself voluntarily as a beneficiary of the U.S. government corporation by way of your birth certificate, which is an unrevealed trust account instrument placing you in commerce with the federal U.S. Federal U.S. citizens are not citizens at all. They are subjects and property of the District of Columbia. Residents and franchisees of the so-called bankrupt U.S. government corporation under municipal law. The Constitution for the U.S.A., the Bill of Rights, and the 13th Amendment with its 20 sections does not apply to federal U.S. citizens. Federal U.S. citizens are subjects and property under statutory, admiralty, and maritime law, as well as martial law under the undisclosed presumption of an international contract. Federal U.S. citizens have no constitutional protections or unalienable rights. They only have granted privileges by the U.S. government corporation. Legal persons born or naturalized in a federal U.S. were made exclusively by the 14th Amendment after the Civil War. The 14th Amendment was never lawfully ratified and therefore unconstitutional. Our prophet Noble Jew Ali held up the red flag with the five-pointed green star in the center in his right hand. This is our national flag. It is poorly misunderstood as the flag of Morocco. It is properly comprehended as the Moorish flag. He also held up the 48-star flag of the U.S.A. in his left hand. This is our flag of peace, friendship, and commerce within the states of the Union of Subhanallah. This is our flag of peace, friendship, and commerce within the states of the Union under the Republican form of government in this country. The 50-star flag of the U.S. with the gold fringes around it does not represent free national Moorish American citizens. Social Security benefits and the income tax are voluntary contracts made mandatory for federal government employees and U.S. citizens who receive benefits from the federal government corporation. Asiatics are the Aboriginal indigenous inhabitants of America. However, due to the fact that the Asiatics' birthrights have been stolen and we have fallen from the constitutional laws of the government, being placed in a chattel property status because of the reorganization of the U.S. with the New Deal in 1933, the Asiatics are now aliens, not to this country, but to all free national governments. We encourage everyone to become a naturalized Moor and register with the Moorish National Bureau of Vital Statistics in order to become part and parcel of this free national government. In this way, you are under the divine authority of our honorable prophet Noble Jew Ali, being under the jurisdiction of the Emancipation Proclamations of President Abraham Lincoln, inclusive of the 13th Amendment with its 20 sections, and not under federal jurisdiction, making your identity and your nationality Moorish American. The bankruptcy of the United States is a fraud. The Uniform Commercial Code administers this fraudulent bankruptcy. So those who undergo the UCC 1 financing statement and its further paperwork applications become a party to this fraud and disconnect themselves from the divine authority of our honorable prophet Noble Jew Ali, which is a conspiracy of the international banking cartel against us Moorish Americans. Also, having a seat in the United Nations is a trap. This places you under the controls of the cartels of Europe as well. Furthermore, a government that is a democracy is a trick because this type of government is not of the common people, for the common people, nor by the common people. Educating the masses on these issues in order for the Asiatics to become functionally active is of the utmost importance for the progress and growth of the Moorish Divine and National Movement. For more information, visit our website, www.moorishamericannationalrepublic.com. During this meeting, we would like our guests to remain muted if you are not speaking. This will prevent background noise coming from you as these calls are being recorded. When you want to speak, press the star button twice to unmute your phone and state your name and where you are calling from. You may submit your questions to our email, townhall@MoorishamericanNationalRepublic.com. Again, townhall@MoorishamericanNationalRepublic.com. So your questions will be answered in the order in which they are received, as the email questions supersede direct questions from the audience. We would like our guests to continue to attend these meetings, and please invite your family members, associates, and friends to attend these meetings. And that will conclude our first administrative announcement. And our next administrative announcement will be coming by way of our good sister Ariana Sanders Bay, and she will be giving our announcement for our National Children's Sunday School. Islam, their beloved daughter Angel, you can press star star and you have the floor.
Islam.
Islam, beloved, I can hear you loud and clear and you have the floor.
Islam, this is Sister Ariana Sanders Bay, calling from the Florida Republic. First, I'd like to rise to my highest height, giving all perfect praise to our Mother, Father, God, Allah, and giving honors to all the true and divine prophets, named Jesus, Muhammed, Buddha, Confucius, and our last prophet in these days and times, our illustrious Hebrew prophet, Abu Durali, in his first, second, and third form. I would like to extend those honors to our National Grand Sheikh, Joe Bratton Bay, all national officials, all sheikhs, sheikesses, deputy sheikesses, and to all that are on the call. The Divine and National Movement of North America Incorporated, number 13. The Moorish American National Republic expects the presence of all members and invites the public to join us every Sunday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for our Moorish Sunday class conference call. Please join us by calling 443-961-4434. All Moors currently naturalized to the Moorish American National Republic and who have not already done so are requested to forward an email to manrsundayschool@gmail.com. This will confirm your registration and allow you to receive your information packet. Please include the names of all children, their ages, birth dates, and school grades. Also, we are requesting that members send us family pictures for posting on our website. Pictures of Moorish families studying, playing, working, etc., and in unity. This is highly desirable. Please be advised that submission of your photo constitutes your permission to post. To submit your photo, send via email to sundayschool@moorishamericannationalrepublic.com. Again, the Moorish American National Republic Sunday School conference call is at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we invite the public to please join us by calling 443-961-4434. We had a thrilled and powerful class today. You can listen to today's class at www.moorishamericannationalrepublic.com. We look forward to exercising our five senses together with you, manifesting guidance for our nation. Islam and peace.
Islam. And thank you for that beautiful administrative announcement, beloved angel daughter. Appreciate you much. Islam. Our next administrative announcement will be coming by way of our Moorish School and Law and History Board of Education and be given by our good sister Carla Green Ill. Islam, their beloved sister, you can press star star and you have the floor.
Islam.
Islam, beloved sister Carla Green Ill, trusting all is well with you and the family. Your vibrations is strong and you have the floor.
Islam, and thank you, Brother Cornelius Sanders Bay. Islam family, this is your sister Carla Green Ill from the Massachusetts Commonwealth. I rise to my highest height and give all perfect praises to the Mother, Father, God of the universe, Allah. I give honor to all ancestors known and unknown, recognizing and naming all true and divine prophets, Jesus, Muhammed, Buddha, Confucius, and the last prophet in these days and times, our illustrious Hebrew prophet, Noble Drew Allah, and his first, second, and third form. Extending honors to our National Grand Sheikh, Joe Bratton Bey, all national and local officials, all sheikhs, sheikesses, deputy sheikesses, all of our children, students, members, guests, and citizens. I greet you all with Islam. Please remain muted to this very important announcement. Peace and greetings. The Moorish Science Temple, the Divine and National Movement of North America Incorporated, number 13, the Moorish American National Republic, requires from everyone desiring to proclaim their Moorish American nationality to fill out and complete an application for Moorish American citizenship and 3-course registration forms for each of the Moorish law and history courses, which I'll explain later. Many people question, why do we have to fill out paperwork and submit copies of our personal documents? This is the reason. We must know who you are, your background, previous affiliations, work history, physical abilities, education, skills, training, etc. First of all, these documents do not belong to you. They belong to the federal government. So you must remember that in their jurisdiction, you are an artificial corporation under civil rights and granted privileges. Secondly, we require these documents because once you are a free national Moorish American citizen, your file will be in the Moorish National Bureau of Vital Statistics, which is set up for each natural person. These Moorish documents that you'll be receiving at the time of your naturalization are prepared from these documents. The most important page in the application is the self-audit page. This allows you to make sure you know the appropriate attire to wear during naturalization and are submitting the required documents, fees, and photos. The documents must be clear-colored copies for clarity and authenticity. The photos must be passport size. We use the photos for your nationality and ID card. Please have your national and religious headdress on and write your name on the back of the photos. The application process is reviewed each week because applications are received in the National Register's office either with incomplete applications, no photos, or no documents. If a question on the application does not apply to you, place N/A, not applicable. This lets us know that you did read the question but did not omit it. We must read and follow instructions and learn to ask questions if we do not comprehend what is being said. The second part of the process is enrolling into the Moorish School of Law and History by registering for the 3 courses with the following completed forms. 1. A warning from the Prophet class form. 2. Be it known class form. 3. Nationality and ID card class form. 4. Course rules and agreement form. Visit our website, www.moorishamericannationalrepublic.com, and download the application and registration forms. These forms will have the full instructions, requirements, and prerequisites for the classes. Also, mail with your application an updated copy of your resume. You are not paying for your nationality. Your nationality is free of charge. You are paying for the cost of enrolling in the Moorish School of Law and History, just as one pays tuition when enrolling into a college or a university. The costs are also directed to the application processes of the preparation of your documents, as you'll receive these once you've completed the courses. It takes finances to raise a nation, and it takes finances to maintain and operate an educational forum. This concludes the administrative announcement. By way of the Moorish School and Law and History, I return the floor to the moderator. Islam and peace.
Islam. And thank you for that administrative announcement, our good sister Carla Green Ill. Appreciate you much, beloved. Islam. Our next administrative announcement will be coming by way of our good brother Michael Simpson L. Jr. Islam there, beloved brother. You can press ***, and you have the floor.
Islam there, good brother Sanders Bay. Can you hear me?
Islam there, my good brother Michael Simpson L. Jr. I can hear you loud and clear. Trusting all is well with you and the family, and you have the floor.
All is truly well with me and the family, and all is truly well with you and the family.
Indeed. Giving thanks, beloved. You have the floor.
Thank you much, my man. Much honor and gratitude. Brother Michael Simpson L. Jr., calling out of Wayne County, Michigan Republic. First, I want to rise to my highest heights and give all perfect praise to the great God Allah, to all our ancestors, spoken and unspoken, naming and honoring our true and divine prophets, Jesus, Muhammed, Buddha, and Confucius, and our last prophet in these days and times, our illustrious Hebrew prophet, our great Redeemer, Noble Jew Ali, in his first, second, and third form. Also like to extend those honors to our headquarters in Baltimore, Maryland, Temple number 13, our National Grand Sheikh, Joe Bratton Bay, to all our national officials, sheiks, sheikesses, deputy sheiks, and deputy sheikesses, and to all our family, friends, guests, students, citizens, members, and to our illustrious future, our children, I greet you all with Islam. This administrative announcement is coming by way of our Sergeant at Arms Administration. Warning, if any persons, groups, or companies claiming to represent the Moorish Science Temple, the Divine and National Movement of North America, Incorporated, number 13, the Moorish American National Republic, in any way and offering to sell you such things as the application for Moorish American citizenship, naturalization paperwork, nationalization paperwork, trust documents with the Moorish American National Republic's logos, passports, diplomatic appointments, diplomatic papers, diplomatic motor vehicle license plates, driver's licenses, titles of nobility, doctors or other educational titles, business banking licenses, tax shelters, tax identification cards. For the likeness of any of these, please contact the Moorish National Bureau of Investigation at area code 410-501-7301. I repeat, area code 410-501-7301. Immediately, violators will be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. The members and the grand body of the Moorish Science Temple, the Divine and National Movement of North America, Incorporated, number 13, the Moorish American National Republic are not sovereign citizens, nor Moorish nationals. The Moorish Science Temple, the Divine and National Movement of North America, Incorporated, number 13, the Moorish American National Republic is not, I repeat, is not a sovereign citizens movement. This administrative announcement comes by way of our Solicitor General, National Grand Sheikh, Joe Bratton Bay. And that concludes the reading of this administrative announcement. Islam there, good brother Sanders Bay. The floor is yours. Islam?
Islam. And thank you for that administrative announcement, brother Michael Simpson L. Jr. Appreciate you much, beloved. Our next administrative announcement will be coming by way of our Deputy Sheikh Romel Hyacinth L. with our caveat emptor. Islam there, beloved brother. You can press star, and you have the floor.
Islam.
Islam, Romel Hyacinth L. Trusting all is well with you. Your vibrations is loud and clear, and you have the floor.
Can I still be heard? Islam.
Islam, loud and clear. You have the floor.
A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Ever seeking refuge from the curse of Satan, with the name and in the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most beneficent. Rise and giving perfect praise to Allah and all honors to all our divine prophets, namely Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, and Confucius. I'd like to extend those honors to the forerunner, Marcus Mosiah Garvey, all our ancestors, spoken and unspoken of. Of course, our last prophet in these days of time, our honorable, illustrious Hebrew prophet who brought us our doctrine of nationality and birthrights, our Redeemer, Salvate, and our Savior, Prophet Noble Jew Ali. I'd like to extend those honors to everyone on the call, all our brothers and sisters, members, guests, all our sheiks, sheikesses, deputy sheikesses, under the guidance and direction of our wise elder, Grand Sheikh Joe Bratton Bay. And I greet you all with our eternal words of peace, Islam. Islamism. Caveat emptor. Oh, subhanAllah, my name is Romel Hyacinth, Deputy Sheikh out of Kings County, New York Republic. Caveat emptor. Moors are men, upright, independent, and fearless, who care for their loved ones and follow the Prophet to a destiny which is not uncertain nor unknown. They are fortified by the impregnable doctrine built upon love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. It is, therefore, folly at its great for smelly culprits with their insidious plans to invade such realm. They try, but their own subhanAllah, they try, their own bad planning brings down wrath upon their heads like a sword old Damocles had, Intrigue and scurrilous cunnings find a difficult path to travel within the ranks of the Moors. This is so because the Moorish movement has been well planned by Prophet Noble Drew Ali, whose latent powers are abundant, unknown, and may be called into action as a matter of defense at any moment. Prophet Noble Drew Ali knows the people within his ranks who are interested. They are vanguard of the movement as the Moorish hordes here in America. All of the Moors are active, not passive. A member's interest can only be in one direction, and having traveled over the road years before the Prophet knows where every member is along the road. A flow is another road where schemers walk, where traders grin, and culprits bask in the sun. They think they are on the same road with true Moors, but the Moors are high above on a pinnacle where they might view the destructionists as they fall for the last time, and their bones bleach in the sultry midday sun. Hungry scavengers flying high catch scent, devour, and leave crying out, Caveat emptor, cast out the dead carcass. The Moors high above see these plotters, purveyors, the worst that exists, hurl themselves downward by their own works as the hawks await. By Prophet Noble Drew Ali. The Moorish Science Temple, the Divine and National Movement of North America, Incorporated, number 13, the Moorish American National Republic, advises the public with above words of warning written by Prophet Noble Drew Ali. The Caveat emptor article's message is the same today in 2021 as when written in 1928. We have been contacted by various natural persons who have sent funds to individuals or organizations, some named, some I will name later on. Said funds paying for various documents, etc. Said individuals and organizations have no affiliation with the Moorish Science Temple, the Divine and National Movement of North America, Incorporated, number 13, the Moorish American National Republic. Be herein advised, the Moorish Science Temple, the Divine and National Movement of North America, Incorporated, number 13, the Moorish American National Republic, does not sell documents of any type. Again, we do not sell documents. Again, be herein notified that said individuals and or organizations have no affiliation with our organization. The Moorish Science Temple, the Divine and National Movement of North America, Incorporated. Number 13, Moorish American National Republic. Some of said organizations have mirrored names which read closely to ours. Therefore, pay close attention to whom it is you are sending your funds. As the Moorish Science Temple, the Divine and National Movement of North America, Incorporated, number 13, the Moorish American National Republic carries no liability for funds sent to these individuals and or organizations. There may be others, yet below what the ones mentioned have repeatedly been cited by those natural persons as the parties to whom funds were sent under guise of sending said funds to our organization. R.V. Bay Publications, the Moorish National Republic, the federal government, the Moorish Divine and National Movement of the World, the Moorish Science Temple of America, Bureau of Moorish Affairs, Moorish State University. We will update this list as necessary. Thusly, the public is advised. Let the buyer beware. Islam, I return the floor to the moderator.
Islam. And thank you for that administrative announcement. Our Deputy Sheikh Romel Hyson L. Appreciate you much, beloved. Islam. Our next administrative announcements will be coming by way of our good sister Norma Solomon Ill with our National Holy Night meeting conference call and our Sisters Auxiliary conference call. Islam, their beloved angel sister, you can press star star and you have the floor.
Islam.
Islam, good sister Norma Solomon Ill. Trusting all is well with you and the family. Your vibrations is strong and loud and clear, and you have the floor.
All is truly well. Praise Allah. Glad all is well with you, your family, and all of the announcers before me. Islam. Islam family, this is Sister Norma Solomon Eel, calling out of the Bronx County in New York Republic. First and foremost, I rise to my highest heights, giving all perfect praise and the highest honor to Allah, the Mother, Father, God of the universe. I give high honors to all true and divine prophets, naming Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, Confucius, and to our illustrious Hebrew prophet in this new era of time, Prophet Noble Drew Ali, in his first, second, and third form. Remaining standing and extending honors to our National Grand Sheikh, Joe Bratton Day, to all of our sheikesses, our sheiks, our deputy sheikesses, to our deputy sheiks, to all of our citizens, members, students, children, and any guests that may be on the call this evening, I greet all in and this Islam. The first administrative announcement is coming by way of our National Holy Night conference call. Friday is the holy day for all Muslims all over the world. Islam or Muslim, the public is invited to join our National Holy Night conference call Friday evenings at 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Savings Time. If you live in an area without a temple, or you are unable to attend your local Holy Night meeting, our National Holy Night conference call is here for you. We invite the public and all members to join our National Holy Night conference call at 443-961-4434 every Friday as we celebrate the closing of one creation and the opening of the next. Come give thanks to your creatress, creator, and exercise your five senses, celebrating and commemorating the divine unity of Holy Night. 443-961-4434 every Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Savings Time. See you at our Holy Night meeting. The next administrative announcement is coming by way of our sister auxiliary, Islam. The Moorish Science Temple, the Divine and National Movement of North America, Inc., number 13, the Moorish American National Republic, is delighted to announce our upcoming conference call dedicated to the uplift of Moabitist members of this divine and national movement under the leadership of our National Grand Sheikh, Joe Bratton Bey, and the nobles of our grand body. Our conference call's purpose is to create a network system amongst our feminine energy, showcasing the array of talents we, the sisters in this body, have to offer. We are calling on every sister in our organization to heed this call, partake in this uplifting act, and be a spoke in the wheel of this Moorish Republic. We encourage our sisters to get involved and support this demonstration. The Moorish American National Republic Sisters Auxiliary is requesting the help and support of all our brothers and sisters to donate to our Life Pen and Tag Day celebration demonstrations. Show pride in your movement and support the Sisters Auxiliary as we assist in the uplifting of fallen humanity by donating $1 for a Life Pen, $3 for a tag, and $5 for a magnet. All three are designed to inspire, unite, and encourage dialogue about this great movement and our illustrious Hebrew prophet, Noble Drew. This Moorish regalia can be viewed on our website, www.moorishamericannationalrepublic.com. Simply look into the Resources tab and click on the Sister Auxiliary option. Any member wishing to order regalia or any sister looking for membership, please send us an email to sisterauxiliary13@gmail.com. That's sisterauxiliary@gmail.com. Please make note of your request in the subject line, whether it's membership, life pens, tags, or magnets. Please leave your contact information, including your email address and phone number. Our next Sister Auxiliary conference call will be held the fourth Sunday of the fourth Thursday of April, which is April the 22nd, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That concludes the administrative announcements I have to give this evening. I thank you for the time. Peace and love, family. I turn the floor back over to you, Brother Cornelius Sanders Bay. Islam.
Islam. And thank you for those administrative announcements. Our good sister Norma Solomon Ill. Appreciate you much, beloved. Islam. At this time, if there's any announcements from any of our national officials at this time, you can press star, and you have the floor.
Islam.
Islam, that sounds like Sheikh Lawrence Young Bay.
Islam, it's me in the flesh. Islam. I hope you and the family are doing well.
Oh, yeah, giving thanks, beloved, and I trust the same for you. It's always a pleasure to hear your vibrations, Sheikh, and you have the floor.
Islam. I'm Sheikh Lawrence Young Bay, National Treasurer and Divine Minister out of North Carolina Republic. First, I rise giving all perfect praise to Allah, to our ancestors, some we know of, some we don't, to all our true and divine prophets, just to name a few. Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, and Confucius, and the last prophet in these days and times, our Redeemer, our illustrious Hebrew prophet, Noble Drew Allah, the first, the second, and the third form. I extend my honors to the forerunner for Noble Drew Ali, Marcus Hosea Garvey, and to all our national officials, and to our national Grand Sheikh Joe Bratton Bay, to sheikhs, sheikesses, deputy sheikhesses, brothers, sisters, and parents and students in our Sunday school, and everyone on the call. I greet you with love and peace, 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 which means Islam, Islam, Islam. This administrative announcement is to the members. When mailing your dues, please include your dues card with a photocopy of your dues card. In the upper right-hand corner of your dues card, you will see the letters DON and a blank line, which stands for date of naturalization. Write the date of your naturalization in the upper right-hand corner. If you do not see DON written in the right-hand corner, write the date of your naturalization anyway. Make 2 copies. Keep 1 copy home for your record. Include the month and year you are paying your dues. Also, if you change your address, please indicate so with a note when you mail your dues card. This is so we can update and mark the records correctly. This concludes my administrative announcement for the Moorish Science Temple, the Divine and National Movement of North America Incorporated, number 13, Moorish American National Republic. And I turn it back up into the hands of the moderator, Brother Cornelius Sanders Bay. You have it, beloved. Thanks for the time.
Islam. And thank you for that administrative announcement, Sheikh Lawrence Young Bay. Always appreciate you much, always, too. Islam?
Islam, I appreciate you too, brother. Islam.
Islamism. At this time, if there's any announcements from any of our national officials at this time, you can press star, star, and you have the floor.
Islam there, beloved.
Islam, that sounds like Sheikh Orton Bay, trusting all is well with you and the family. The vibrations is loud and clear, and you have the floor.
All right, indeed, beloved. Appreciate you. Hold on. I'm sorry, I can't get this headphone. Can I be heard, good brother?
Islam, Sheikh, you can be heard loud and clear.
Okay, appreciate you. Islam Moors, this is your brother, Isaiah Orton Bay, Sheikh, calling out of Wayne County, Michigan Republic. Rising to my highest heights, give all perfect praise to our Mother, Father, God of the universe, whom we Moors refer to as Allah, remaining standing and extending those divine honors to our ancestors known and unknown, naming, recognizing all true and divine prophets, Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, Confucius, our last prophet in these last days and times, our illustrious Hebrew prophet, the Honorable Prophet Noble Drew Allah, first, second, and third form, remaining standing and extending those honors to our national officials at headquarters in Baltimore, Maryland, under the guidance and direction of our National Grand Sheikh, Joe Bratton Day, all of our sheikhs, sheikesses, deputy sheikesses, our citizens, members, family, friends, students, associates, our beloved children. I greet you all in the universal greeting of Islam. Islam Moors, this announcement is a heads up, and just to give you a heads up, we are underway with our Be It Known course, which is our second course of the year. Application and enrollment is open, so those who are interested, you definitely want to follow the instructions of a previous administrative announcement given by our good sister, Carla Green Ill. You want to visit our website. If you're new, first time enrolling, you want to visit the website under the resources tab. You want to go ahead and download, complete the application for Moorish American citizenship and the course registration form. So the course that we are in now is the Be It Known course. We will begin our first week of instructions this coming Wednesday, April the 14th, 2021. So we are open for enrollment. So if you are interested, you want to go ahead, get on the ball and get those documents completed, filled out, and any other documents that need to be submitted along with the finance for the class to get enrolled and start your journey of higher learning. So again, Morris, enrollment is open for the Be It Known course, which is the second course of the year. So just wanted to share that with the family, give everyone a heads up that enrollment is still open. All right. Appreciate you, Brother Sanders Bay. That's all I had to share. Yielding the floor back to you, beloved. Islam.
Islam, Sheikh, and appreciate you for that administrative announcement. Islam. At this time, if there's any announcements from any of our national officials, you can press star, star, and you have the floor. All right. We got all our administrative announcements out the way. And we like to, at this time, we have a total of 49 lines on the call. We like to thank you all for your presence and your energies because you could have been anywhere this evening, but you're here with us. And we definitely appreciate your energies and your presence. And we're going to get this dialogue going and get some of these questions generated and get some information disseminated. Islam. All right. Our first question on the floor for this evening reads, if we as Moors have our own government, what lawful means can validate this claim? Islam, you can press star, star, state your name and where you're calling from. If we as Moors have our own government, what lawful means can validate this claim? So the questionnaire wants to know if we as Moors have our own government, what lawful means can validate this claim? Islam, press star star, state your name and where you're calling from. If we as Moors have our own government, what lawful means can validate this claim? Islam, we have a total of 49 lines on the call. I know we got some to get the ball started, get us rolling here.
Islam?
Islam, brother
Islam.
Michael L. Jr., you have the floor. Islam Sheikh Orton Bay, I heard you. I'll bring you on right after. Islam?
Islam, that good brother Sanders Bay.
Islam, my good brother Michael Simpson L. Jr., you have the floor.
Can you read the question for me again one more time, good brother?
Indeed. If we as Moors have our own government, what lawful means can validate this claim? Islam?
Islam. Thank you much, good brother. Brother Michael Simpson L. Jr., calling out of Wayne County, Michigan Republic, rising to my highest heights. All perfect praise is due to Allah and to our illustrious Hebrew prophet, Noble Drew Ali, in his first, second, and third form. So we are the government, and substantiation that is the government that our ancestors set up for this for the geographical landmass, which we call or if we using ancient terminology, we would say a maxim. So with that being said, the Constitution derives out of the great law of peace, and the Union is older than the Constitution. So we definitely have a paper trail and the perpetuations of the constitutions throughout history. And those are all based by historical facts. So we have the Articles of Association, the Declaration of Independence, the 10 Bill of Rights, 13th Amendment with 20 sections, in the first 7 articles, which is the Moorish Foundation. So that definitely cements us as the government, because we brought these Europeans into our house and made them a part of it. So we already had a government established before any other foreigners came over here. So we established through a paper trail that is congruent with all the other historical facts that I just mentioned. And I'm in my commentary right there, Islam and peace.
Islam. And thank you, Brother Michael Simpson L. Jr., for getting the ball started, getting us rolling. And appreciate you much, beloved. Islam. Islam Sheikh Orton Bey, you have the floor.
Appreciate you, family. I can be heard.
Loud and clear. You have the floor.
All right. Appreciate you. Islam Moorish, this is your good brother, Sheikh Isaiah Orton Bey, rising to my highest heights, giving all perfect praise to our Mother, Father, God of the universe, and the Moorish referred to as Allah, giving all honors to our last prophet in these last days and times, our illustrious Hebrew prophet, the Honorable Prophet Noble Jew Allah, bringing us our divine message of nationality, birthrights, and divine creed. Islam. All right. Beautiful commentary by our good brother Michael Simpson L. So just in reference also to Camelback, as to what our good brother stated. I'm on the Camelback, and then I'm gonna go into my demonstration. So historical Moors, we have to. This is why the Moorish School of Law and History is important, because we have to know the history in order to enforce the law. All right. So why are we registered as or recognized as the free national government? We have to go back to the scene of the crime. Moorish Prophet Noble Jew Ali made us aware that slavery in this hemisphere, dealing with us, took place from the years of 1779 and lasted until the year 1865. So during the time of the Civil War, all right, it was a domestic war, North against the South. All right, the South was in a rebellious state. All right, so due to that fact, after Abraham Lincoln did what he did with bringing our policy of freedom and making it permanent parts to the Constitution, of course, with the enforcement of the 13th Amendment with 20 sections, this is the last known Republican form of government. All right, 1865. The 14th Amendment was forced upon the nation in the year of 1868. All right, going back to the proclamations. The proclamations was also a mandate, all right, that these southern states that was in rebellion or a rebellious state, they had 37 years to get their constitutions in line with the reconstruction of the government, all right, and that's making sure that their state constitutions reflect, all right, the proclamation or the policy of freedom of Abraham Lincoln, inclusive of that 13th Amendment with 20 sections. 1863 to 1900 gives us our 37 years, all right? So from the 1863 to 1900, we get our 37 years, but they defaulted on the contract. They never did fulfill the aims of the Civil War. We never was naturalized, we never was colonized, and we never was compensated. Allah, the Creator, gave them also a 13-year grace period. Why you say that, brother? Because our prophet was divinely prepared and sent to us, and he came with his hollow in 1913, 1900, 1913. That's your 13-year grace period. Now think about your credit card, Moors, when they're telling you in default and everything. These are contracts, all right? So we have to understand contract law. By them defaulting on the contract, they lost their authority. Yes, we gave them the ability to do business on our land with the Articles of Confederation. However, due to the fact that they didn't adhere to this divine intervention that was put in place to bring balance to the Union, 35 Moors, the 20 Anglo-Saxon European sons, Masons, all right, white man. They didn't adhere to this, so they lost their control. They lost their authority, all right? Prophet Noble Jew Ali, streamlining, coming back to 1928, and I'm going into my demonstration. Why are we a government? Well, the law that's substantiated is what's on our record. 1928, August 1st, at 2:52 p.m., our prophet declared a new era of time. Prophet Noble Jew Ali, once he did that, he put his divine authority on the record and he nationalized the land. He took the land back. He is the sovereign ruler of this Western Hemisphere. By us proclaiming our nationality and being redeemed, and law that means to be repurchased or bought back. Prophet Noble Jew Ali redeemed us through adoption. When we look at our authority, it says see chapters 32 and 36. 32 deals with society, 36 deals with adoption. Prophet Noble Jew Ali being a genius citizen, being the genius citizen that he was, okay? He knew that from a society, a government can form. Remember, Moors, the 13 colonies started off as a society. They formulated themselves into what we know now, the de facto, the U.S. corporation. That's not government, all right? By Prophet Noble Jew Ali doing what he did, he took the government back. He reconnected us back to Article 4, Amendment 4, Section 4, to establish, each state under this Constitution is guaranteed a Republican form of government. What's a Republican form of government? It's for the people, of the people, by the people. How do we tie into that? Our authority. Ours. Who is the our? These people who has been branded Negro, Black, Colored, Ethiopian, African American, and any other names that delude to slavery. All right? So the law that substantiates this is the Religious Corporation Act. We are, Prophet Noble Jew Ali went into the Torrance Act. And when you deal with torrent law, this deal with land mass. All right? Where's his land mass at? He teaches us in Act 6. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites whom inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Inhabitant. All right? Inhabitant is synonymous with citizen. All right? So we have to start to get an understanding of this divine and national movement and how it all plays a part. But the law that substantiates that we are a government is our authority. And this is on the record for anyone to see. You got the copybook number. It's on page 521. Copybook 521 is on page 579. The file number, 5-39. It was filed in the state of Illinois, Cook County, number 10105905, a corporation religious affidavit of organization. And right above that, it says filed, ED, means past tense. It's already been done. The prophet said, I have the government. All I need is the people. So with that, I'm going to put a period behind my commentary. Yield the floor back to you, our good brother Sanders Day. Islam and peace.
Islam. And thank you for that beautiful demonstration, Sheikh Orton Bey. Appreciate you much, beloved. Islam. Well, our Sheikh said a mouthful right there. So at this time, if there's any questions, comments, concerns, or anyone that would like to add on to what has already been stated, the floor is now open. You can press star, state your name and where you're calling from. We have a total of 50 lines on a call now, as of now. Definitely appreciate you all for your presence and your energies. Is that someone coming through? Islam, Deputy Sheikh.
Islam.
Islam,
Islam.
Islam.
Brother Rufus Dean from the Arkansas Republic. I just wanted to say that was a wonderful demonstration by Sheikh Gordon Bey, and he took the words out of my mouth. But I was just wanting to reiterate the Republican form of government, which the law that substantiates that is in the Constitution, Article 4, Section 4, and I yield.
Islam, and thank you for that beautiful demonstration, our good brother Rufus Dean. Appreciate you much, beloved. Islam, Deputy Sheikh Macabre, I hear you coming through. You have the floor.
Islam, give thanks for Sanders Bay, and how are you?
All is truly well. Trusting all is well with you, and you have the floor.
I praise His door to Allah. Islam was Deputy Sheikh Macabre Bay, and from the Empire Republic, rising to my highest human perfect praises to Allah, the Mother, Father, God of the universe, and honoring all true and divine prophets, seen, unseen, known, unknown, and reincarnated, and to our illustrious Hebrew prophets in these days and time, prophet, noble Jew, all I, and to our National Grand Sheikh, Joel Bratton Bay, to officials in Baltimore, for children, guests, families on the call. Shout out to Marcus Messiah, God the Forerunner, and to the ancient spirit that guides us through these turbulent times, greeting all in love with Islam. Beautiful narration from all the brothers before myself. So just adding on. When we go to a warning of 1928 and we read the third paragraph of the prophet states, there is but one issue for them to be recognized by this government and of the earth. And it comes only through the connection of the Moorish national movement, which is incorporated in this government and recognized by all other nations of the world. And through it, they and their children can receive their divine rights unmolested by other citizens. Proceeding to paragraph 6, where the prophet is telling us that we fell from the constitutional laws of the government and we should return to the constitutional fold. Paragraph 8, he speaks about that pre-national constitutional law that was enforced since 1774, which declared all one free and equal. So, in saying all of that, with the incorporation of our movement into the government by Form number 1099, Corporation Religious Affidavit of Organization, that gives us our authority to operate on the pyramid side of our dollar bill, as in taking care of our affairs, as this is one government, two jurisdiction. And in order for us to be right, we have to be recognized. Islam, return the floor to the moderator.
Islam, and thank you for that beautiful demonstration and add on, Deputy Sheikh Macabre. Appreciate you much, beloved. Islam. Well, at this time, if there's anybody or anyone who has any questions, comments, concerns, or would like to add on to what has already been stated, the floor is now open. You can press star, state your name and where you're calling from.
Islam.
Islam, that sounds like the good brother Curtis Douglas.
Islam, Brother Sanders Day. Beautiful demonstration by everyone that have preceded, and I just want to be brief and just camel back in just to make a very quick point as far as documentation as well. There's a book called The Gold Book, Our First Two Presidents, John Hanson and George Washington by John Kavanaugh. But before I do that, let me just give my acknowledgement. I want to rise to my highest heights. I give praise to all divine prophets, Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, Confucius, and our last prophet in these days, Noble Drew in the first, second, and third form. I will remain standing and give all acknowledgement to all officials, sheikhs, sheikesses, deputy sheikhs, and deputy sheikesses, members, guests, and students and visitors on the call, and everyone of the leadership of our National Grand Sheikh Joe Barton Bay, Islam and Peace. So once again, the book is Our First Two Presidents by John Hanson and George Washington. A point that the individual that asked that question want to keep in mind is, were Asiatics in the government prior to these European sons being brought into our government? So on the $2 bill, John Hanson is actually on the $2 bill as well, but like the deputy chief when he mentioned one government, two different jurisdictions. The original jurisdiction, of course, was the Moorish jurisdiction, which is the common law perspective of the government here in this land. The Europeans currently are the de facto aspect because they fell in 1871 when they allowed themselves to be taken back over by Rome, the Pope to be specific, with the second constitution, which pretty much is operating under the District of Columbia. So the Moorish jurisdiction is the original jurisdiction, which is mentioned in the warning of 1978 by, the warning of 1928 by Noble Drew, but he said in 1774, the Free National Constitutional law that was in place then basically declared all men free and equal. And if that constitution declared all men free and equal, it was not applicable for the salvation of his people, i.e. the Moors. So with him having his authority placed on the record by way of the affidavit, the religious affidavit or authority, August 1st at 2:52 p.m., he pretty much, like the deputy chief was saying, take back all of this, but he spoke to the fact of 1774. So John Hanson during that time period was pretty much the individual who was the president. So that seal that George Washington first utilized was given to him by John Hanson. So the question becomes, if George Washington was a general then, who was the president that gave him the authority to become president here in our land? Because he was not elected, he was appointed. So that was John Hanson. So when even the United States, the land at that time was being split up, the original 13 colonies, which were melanated, it was John Hanson who got the assistance from the French to bring the 13 Asiatic melanated colonies back together, which were originally us. Then Abraham Lincoln had the perspective of keeping the North and the South. So very two pivotal presidents for us. John Hanson showing that he was a part of the influence of those 35 Moorish chieftains and the 20 European sons that came together to allow the 13 European colonies, which the U.S. Constitution, as opposed to the U.S.A. Republican form of government, which is the Moorish side on that seal that the Deputy Chief was speaking about just now, being the Great Seal. So their seal is what we see all presidents speak on. And just to read a very quick point from the book, it says here that on July 24th, 1789, Washington president for just 3 months past wrote to Charles Thompson, Secretary of the Old Federal Union for the Great Seal of the United States as follows. You will be pleased, sir, to deliver the books, records, and papers of the last Congress, the Great Seal of the Federal Union, and the Seal of the Admiralty to Mr. Jones Alden, the late Deputy Secretary of Congress, who is requested to take charge of them until further direction shall be given. This letter and the call of an emergency session of Congress by President George Washington himself proves conclusively Washington knew absolutely that he was not the first president when he wrote for the books, paper, and tools quote unquote, the great seal of the first president before he could go on with his work as president. That first president, ladies and gentlemen, was John Hanson, and he was Asiatic, he was a Moor, and this is information that is suppressed that we need to know. So I just want to put that on the record as well, and I give the floor back to the moderator. Islam in peace.
Islam. And thank you for that beautiful demonstration and add-on, our good brother Curtis Douglas. Appreciate you much, beloved. Islam.
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 Brother Rufus Dean from the Arkansas Republic. I just wanted to say that that was a great demonstration by the brother there. And I just wanted to just say that, he's absolutely right. I recall reading that George Washington, couldn't help but acknowledge that the United States of America had already been acknowledged internationally. So that's a fact. And regarding the Moors, having the initial congressional body being the original, certainly true. As I'm finishing in the book, The Great Conspiracy, right around page 94, as they're, as the other states are they're debating about the ordinance. Or signing an ordinance of secession, that is one point that a few of those senators mentioned. The worry of the senators leaving their seats and the possibility of there being a black president and black senators. And in fact, they make reference of this, so they were aware of truth as well. So I just wanted to add that piece. That was a wonderful demonstration, and I yield.
Islam. Thank you for that beautiful demonstration and add-on, Brother Rufus Dean. Definitely appreciate you. Islam. My good brother Rufus Dean.
Yes, sir.
Islam, while I got you here with me real quick, just want to ask you a quick little question. Have you ever learned any of these truths anywhere else?
Oh, no. As a matter of fact, no, not at all. Only here, the Moorish School of Law and History.
Islam. And thank you for that beautiful and honest answer, my good brother. Appreciate you.
Indeed.
Islam. Islam. Definitely on key and on point. Definitely at this time, but we have a total of 55 lines on the call at this moment. So at this time, I'll leave the floor open for any questions, comments, concerns, or anyone that would like to add on to what has already been stated on the floor. The floor is now open. You can press star, state your name and where you're calling from. Islam?
Islam.
Islam, sister.
Hi, brother. This is Tess Pittman calling out the Marion County, Florida Republic. I'm wondering, I'm trying to find out when you guys are doing the Shahada.
The Shahada, I would I can geez, that one right there, you got me. You kind of got me on that one. But I can get in touch with you about that,
okay.
and I can inquire about that for you.
Islam.
Definitely.
Hold on, Islam Sheikh, you have the floor.
I think
thank you.
no problem. I think Sheikh Maya L just did one this past Friday on Holy Night Call. So if you can, beloved sister, tune in with us this Friday on Holy Night Call. Hopefully, Divine Minister Sheikh Maya L will be present, and we can bring that question to him on Friday for Holy Night Call. That's at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time this Friday call.
Okay, will do.
All right. Appreciate you, beloved.
Thank you much. Peace.
Islam. Appreciate you, Sheik. Yeah, I just got the word that it takes place on Fridays. So
Okay.
good sister, you want to join, you want to tune in
Yeah.
the same number that you dialed now. You just want to
Yeah.
tune in on Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Okay, I will. Thank you and peace.
You're welcome. Islam. Well, at this time, if there's any questions, comments, concerns, or anyone that would like to add on to what has already been stated, the floor is now open. You can press star star, state your name and where you're calling from. We've been hearing some good truths. We've been hearing that good information. We've been hearing the gospel. Oh yeah, we got it all. Islam, don't be shy. Is any questions, comments, concerns?
Yes, Brother Sanders Bay, do we have another question?
Yes, we do. Islam. And our second question on the floor for this evening reads, I often hear Moorish Americans speak as if they are free in this land of slaves made by debt, coercion, and mind control. Are the laws of this country different for Moors? What laws are y'all using to be free? Islam? You can press star star, state your name,
Islam,
calling from. Islam?
Islam, my brother. Peace and love.
Islam, that's Deputy Sheikh Cook Bay.
Yes, my brother. Peace and love. How you doing?
Islam, all is truly well. It's a pleasure to hear your vibrations, trusting all is well with you and the family. And you have the floor.
Giving thanks, beloved. Giving thanks. First on the rise to my highest heights, giving all praises to Allah, honoring all ancestors known and unknown, seen and unseen, recognizing the name of all true and divine prophets, Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, Confucius. Also, like to extend those honors to the harbinger Marcus Messiah Garvey and to the last prophet in this era of time, the Hebrew prophet, the Kemetan Adept of the order of Melchizedek, Prophet Noble Jew Ali, in the first, second, and third form. Also, like to extend those honors to our National Grand Sheikh Joe Bratton Bay and all our national officials of the executive, legislative, judicial departments in Baltimore, Maryland. Also extending all honors to the Moorish Americans and listening family and friends. I greet you all in and with Islam. This is Brother Cook Bay, Koran of The Republic. Just want to go ahead and get the ball rolling, start the flame on this one. First, I also want to give honors to the previous question and all the brothers and sisters that actually demonstrated on such a topic, because this second question actually connects still. Just to exercise my five senses as far as all the laws of this country different for the Moors and what laws that we're using to be free. Definitely, it's one government, two jurisdictions. Most definitely. We have to first overstand and understand the laws that are running this country at this time are different for the true Moors, the genuine citizens, the flesh and blood naturalized Moorish Americans of this time. What is actually running this country at this time is actually statutory commercial de facto law stemming from the three dead badges, the 13-2, the 14th and 15th Amendments, which is the same three blows that was given to the head that knocked out Hiram Abiff and made him unconscious, which is us, and buried us in the shallow grave of illusions, lies, debt, coercion, and the root cause of the mind control that we have been experiencing. That same pain, the struggle, the second-class citizenship treatment, which has been going on ever since the close of the Civil War, in which the aims were never fulfilled. We were set free physically, but mentally, we were already buried and were to never to be awakened. For example, there was a quote from a guy named Henry Berry, who was a member of the Virginia House of Delegates in 1832. And he quoted, and he was very obnoxious with it. but yet and still they knew what they did. He said, we have as far as possible closed every avenue by which light may enter the slave's mind. If we could extinguish the capacity to see the light, our work would be complete. They would then be on a level with the beast of the field, and we should be safe. Then came the year 1900 with the publication of the law book, Negro Beast. Now the laws that the true and faithful Moors are using, and I only can speak as far as this temple and through the mighty, Moorish School of History, one of the greatest universities on the planet, that we are using and facilitating to be free and recognized is coming through the divine authority of Prophet Noble Jew Ali and the executive will of President Abraham Lincoln, which consists of the 4 proclamations, the initial of September 22nd, 1862, compensated of December 1st, 1862, otherwise known as the Second Inaugural Conversation, the supplemental of January 1st, 1863, and the Oath, Amnesty, and Reconstruction of December 8th, 1863, not to mention the Hebrew law of March 31st, 1864. Now, and to ensure that it stayed perpetual and never to be removed, we have November 18, 1865, the ratification of the 13th Amendment with 20 sections. Now, for the true republic was laid in dormancy since 1871, but it was awakened and resurrected August 1st, 1928 at 2:52 p.m., that new era of time. But everywhere Allah's army goes, Satan follows. And that great conspiracy continued with the New Deal of 1933 by Franklin D. Roosevelt, etc. Now, we have a free national government, but we need the awakened, enlightened ones, the strong men and women that have received the light, have become one with the light in order to reveal the light for actual freedom. And for the others, like the questionnaire and others that are taking the steps, even while listening to these calls, to start that first process of awakening. Now, I would very encourage everyone who has not already to definitely enroll into the Moorish School of Law and History. It will definitely be worth your while, and it'll definitely have the answers to smiling. And as you take that journey, take it serious, because the problems that we face and still going through today and still witnessing, and many of us are still bewildered, is because of those different timelines that went on, and also because of the aims of the Civil War was never fulfilled, and also because we're not acknowledging the Hebrew prophet that did come to us. Now, the land didn't enslave us, because the land is also going through, coercion and distress as well. That's why we have all these different weather patterns changing, all these different things going on within nature. And with that, I'm going to say Islam and peace.
Islam. And thank you for that beautiful demonstration and getting the ball started and getting us rolling. Deputy Sheikh Cook Bay, appreciate you much, beloved. Islam. Islam, Deputy Sheikh Roy Bay. You have the floor, and Deputy Sheikh Macabre Bay, I'll bring you on right after. Islam, you have the floor, Deputy Sheikh Roy Bay.
All right, cool. Thanks a lot. First, I rise to my highest heights. I want to give praise to Allah, the great God of the universe, who is almighty, eternal, and incomprehensible, the universal governor of this world seen and worlds that are unseen. I give honor to John the Harbinger, also known to us as the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey, both harbinger and forerunner to the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. I give honor to all true and divine prophets, namely Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, and Confucius. I give honor to all you Moorish American Muslims on the call tonight. National Grand Sheikh Brother Joe Bratton Bay, our executive body out Baltimore, Maryland, and around the country, wherever they may be, I extend those honors to the highest of such, the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, in the first, second, and third form. So I'm going to be real quick, because, brother, first of all, let me just give some good honor to Brother Cook Bay and all the brothers that spoke prior to, and the sister that also put that Shahada demonstration back on the table. Great commentary. I give a lot of respect to that. But I want to just say, because Brother Cook Bay just said something, I was just going to listen in tonight, but Brother Cook Bay just mentioned the book, The Negro of Beast. And I kept forgetting to mention this, but being that he just said it, put it back in my mind. That book that came out in the year 1900 called The Negro of Beast. Well, I haven't gotten it yet, but I came across the information. There's another book out now that challenges that book. It's called The Negro of Beast, a reply to Charles Carroll, and it's entitled the same name, The Negro of Beast, written by a guy named William Gallo Skelby, or Skelshy, if I'm pronouncing his name right. But it's supposed to prove, in a different literary work, that the Negro, from some biblical scientific perspective, is not a beast. He's, in fact, whatever the book is stating. So I just thought I'd put that little demonstration on the Muslim's mind tonight, So there's been a response to that book from 1900, and this one just came out too. Well, I think last year, something like that. So y'all can check it out on Amazon. It's the reply to Charles Carroll's demonstration, The Negro of Beast. Same name, but the guy trying to give a different perspective. Islam, I yield the floor.
Islam. And thank you for that demonstration, Deputy Sheikh Roy Bey. Appreciate you much, beloved. Islam, Deputy Sheikh Mikal Bey, you have the floor, and you'll be the last demonstration I take before I bring National Grand Sheikh on. Islam?
Islam, give thanks. Ever rising, giving perfect praises to the great God Allah, our true and divine prophets, and our illustrious Hebrew prophet in these days and time. Also honor our National Grand Sheikh Gerald Bretton Bay, all officials in Baltimore and other republics, guest visitors on the call, all Moorish Americans all over the world. Shout out to Malcolm Saiga Referral, and to the ancient spirit that guide us through these turbulent times. Islam once. The Negro beast. Yes, since the 1900s, the Negro has been a beast. So when we go in the law dictionary and cite the word civiliter mortuus, we discover how the beast is being hunted. So it says civilly dead, dead in the view of the law. The condition of one who has lost his civil rights and capacities and is accounted as dead in law. So what we need to know is that the Congress has authority over the 14th Amendment citizen, U.S. citizens, corporate entities as Negro, blacks, colors, etc. So, Black life doesn't matter. People say that there is two laws in process or is going on in America, one for black people and one for the white people. So the thing is this, that is true. So if you are a 14th Amendment citizen, the Congress can do whatever they please because they have authority over corporations. A person is a corporation or can be a natural person. But to be a natural person, you have to be identified as such with a nationality. Return the floor to the moderator.
Islam. And thank you for that beautiful demonstration and add on, Deputy Sheikh Mikal Bey. Appreciate you much, beloved. Islam. Well, definitely appreciated and hearing from all the Moors. The demonstrations was all beautiful and on point. I trust that everyone that was listening jotted down took some notes, because this right here is the truth. This the only place you're gonna get it. It ain't nowhere else. So at this time, we have a total of 56 lines on the call. We'd like to thank you all for your presence and your energies. And at this time, I'd like to ask everybody to mute their lines and remain muted as I introduce and bring to the floor the National Grand Sheikh of the Moorish Science Temple, the Divine and National Movement of North America Incorporated, Number 13, the Moorish American National Republic is none other than my brother, your brother, our brother, the National Grand Sheikh Joel Bratton Bey. Islam, their National Grand. You can press star star, and you know we are waiting for you to bring us home. But then we're gonna have to start. We're gonna have to come back and continue from last week because you know we got a lot of things you gotta put out there this week. So press star star, and you got the floor. We're all waiting for you. Islam.
Islam, oh, thank you much. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, everyone. Oh, it's a beautiful call this evening. Excuse me. Well, before I proceed, I just want to commend all our noble brothers. It's too bad we didn't have our sisters chiming in and bringing forth their energy, but nevertheless, we still won. And I definitely want to give honor and acknowledgement to all the brothers who spoke on the subject matter this evening. And I'm sure each and every one of us have taken that information and put it in such a way of the mindset that it will be embedded for us to realize the significance of what this missing piece of history is and how it applies to us, because we surely didn't know, and no one has ever taught us this phase of history pertaining to the impact that we've had in government and society. So you can see the importance of this Moore School of Law and History and the blessings of Allah that He bestowed upon us by sending us our Prophet Noble Drew Ali to bring forth or destroying the mystery of us as a people and the connection we have to our God Allah. So I just wanted to say that before I proceed, and thanking you, brothers. And I just can't say enough about all of you who have spoken. I don't want to say names because maybe I might miss somebody, and I don't want to do that. So I'm just giving you like the total circle of all of you who spoke and all of us who heard the verbiages. I'm sure we're very pleased with the information. Islam, Islam, Islam. Thank you much. As always, I'm going to rise to my highest height and giving such great love to a God that has touched me that I finally found out the name of our God, who is Allah. A-L-L-A-H, all love, loving all humanity. That's what Allah is. So I always want to give praise to Allah for sending us down prophet, because without the blessings of Allah, where would we be to this day? We need to ask ourselves that and don't take lightly the teachings of the prophet, because that's why the Creator had to send a prophet. No ordinary man would break the seals of knowledge when it comes down to us as a people. This was divine intervention, and that's why our prophet was divinely prepared and sent to us. Giving honor to all of our ancestors, those that we speak of, and those that we don't. There's so much a part of us, in us, and around us. Sure enough, they are. You just got to tap into them. Ask for guidance, ask for direction, and truly, if you want to get understanding, go to the Creator in the prophet's name and ask. And I guarantee you, you will receive it. Giving honor to all of the divine prophets, namely Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, and Confucius, and our most illustrious, oh yes, our most illustrious Hebrew prophet is none other than the Honorable Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Was no doubt our Savior as well as our Redeemer. Look at what he has done by bringing us our nationality and birthright. No one else has done that. So all honor is due. Giving honor to all of the Moorish officials and staff who I greatly, greatly, greatly appreciate always. And giving honor to all of our members, those that are on the call and those that are not, but we all are one in this house of love, in this noble, royal house of love. I'm giving all of you honor, and it's my honor to be a part of all of you. Islam, Islam, Islam. Islam, a noble brother. I'm trusting in you and family and everyone else as well. So where are we?
Islam, National Grand. All is truly well with us. Giving thanks, trusting all is well with you as well. where we're at today, at this moment, this present moment, National Grand, we want to bring you back to last week when when you had to cut your demonstration short from the question that was on the floor regarding what is the foundation of our Moorish American National Republic and gives us authority to form the different departments of and act as a government. And you had stopped your demonstration on a case. You was talking about some cases regarding F. Turner Ill, I believe, and you were going into that demonstration, but you had to cut it short because of the time wouldn't permit. Islam?
Islam, thank you, Mo. I appreciate that. And, my mind is getting cloudy. I'm aging, so I got to have you all get me on point. Thank you much. Well, yeah, Mo's, it's been a travesty dealing with this movement and the individuals that are so much a part of it, and so many conspiracies and corruption and lies pertaining to individuals, etc. But stemming from a demonstration last week, I just wanted to add that there was a brother and father. The names was Edward Turner Ill and his son F. Turner Ill. They were with the founder, and they were charged to really bring forth the national side of the movement. When you read in the prophet's warning, when he said there's only but one issue, and it only comes through the connection of the Moorish divine and national movement, which is incorporated in this government and recognized by all the people. And through it, we will, as the records say, we can receive our divine rights unmolested by other citizens. So it was some conspiracies there, and it was all about the title. Well, they took this matter to court because under Kirkland Bay, F. Turner Ill and his dad had quite a large amount of membership on the eastern seaboard here. And they were doing great demonstrations, dealing with the Moors. They had set up a building for, to teach the sheiks and sheiks to be adepts and things of this nature. But you never hear about these brothers. And there's a piece of literature, a good read, called F. Turner Ill, the Trailblazer for the Moorish Science Temple of America. I've sent that out to some people, but I think it's about a 32-page read. But it's very informative about the things that they had done regarding the movement. That's why F. Turner Ill was an international Moor. He spoke several languages, and the Moors had problems. He was the one that they would call on, but was in the courts, etc. So it was so much confusion with that. And Kirkland Bay and his staff attempted to dismantle the group. So I'm just going to read a portion of this particular case. And the case, the caption of the case was, bear with me for a moment. United States District Court, Eastern District of New York, the Moorish Science Temple of America, plaintiff against the Moorish Science Temple of America Incorporated, also known, most don't know this, also known as the Moorish Science Temple, the Divine and National Movement of North America Incorporated. Most don't know that. So there was some discrepancies about the brothers and what they were doing. And last week I read a letter which was an exhibit part of this case, Exhibit 1, and this was dated May the 16th, 1938. And this is all about the connection of the Connecticut organization under F. Turner Ill and Grand Chief Richard Dingwell, who we looked at as Prophet Noble Jolly III here in Baltimore. Attorney Hill had established the Moorish Divine and National Movement in 1938. Quite a bit of time. Grand Chief Richard Dingwell on the staff. They incorporated the Moorish Divine and National Movement of North America, Incorporated number 13 in 1977. September 25th, 1975 to be exact. So F. Turner Hill had referred the charter that we have to Grand Chief Richard Dingwell. As a matter of fact, I've seen 3 charters that he had in a suitcase he let me see. He had this particular charter, Moorish Science Temple of America, the Moorish Holy Temple of Science, and the Moorish Science Temple of the World. It was about 4 charters, but I've seen it in his suitcase. So I'm just saying, a lot of this has not been known to a lot of folks. But, we got to keep this lie out of the mindset of our people because there's too much confusion, especially when it comes to the national movement. Well, in the case number, let me see. Where was it? The case number is kind of faded out, but it was a civil case. It was 88. It looked like 880. I'm not sure. But if you go back to that year in the United States District Court, Eastern District of New York, Moorish Science of America, they were the plaintiffs against the Moorish Divine and National Movement. I'm sure you can find, like I said, there's 3 cases we have pertaining to this, which a lot of the Moors are unfamiliar with. And just highlighting and camelback on what I read last week is this. This is just in part. Plaintiff charges. Now, remember, I said the plaintiff is the Moorish Science Temple of America. And this was Kirkland Bay and his group. And it was also Brother Walton Hill. And it was about some money. They were trying to say that Attorney Hill was not submitting their dues or the ties back to the headquarters and things of this nature. But stemming from all the evidence, they were proven wrong. That's why I want to share some of this information to clear up any doubt of the authenticity of that movement being connected to the Moorish Science Temple of America. Well, this particular paragraph says the plaintiff charges that the name of the defendant or corporation has been changed from the Moorish Science Temple of America to Moorish Science Temple of the Divine and National Movement of North America, Inc. While the plaintiff seeks to attribute deceitful motives to this change based entirely upon supposition, the true fact is that the purpose of the change was to acquire a name more in harmony with the purposes of the national Moorish American movement and the teachings and writings of the Prophet Noble Drew, and was made entirely with the knowledge and consent of the national leaders. The words divine and national recur throughout the writings and teachings of the Prophet and the rules and regulations and laws of the national organization. In any event, the plaintiff should not complain, for the change dealing with the confusion of identity so feared by the plaintiff is destroyed. The new name is different from the plaintiff's, and any source of deceit is gone. The plaintiff is no longer threatened with an unfair diversion of trade, and finally, has not the plaintiff corporation slept on whatever rights it may have had too long? Is it not guilty of laches? It knew of the existence of the corporation and individual defendants, but did nothing to restrain them. Why did they wait until now? So, let me go a little further with this. find bits and pieces. What did I do with it? Oh, and reading this particular communication, there was a exhibit that was presented pertaining to these charges, these alleged charges. I'm trying to find what I had all this stuff laid out. Deal with it. Bear with me for a minute, Mose. Gotta find this information for you.
Islam, their national grand. You could take your time.
Okay, Mose.
Just take your time. I'll take the wheel and keep everybody occupied while you find your things. Islam?
Islam, Mose, thank you.
Yes, indeed. Well, yes, indeed. Our national grand sheik definitely got the proof for the truth, you know. And I trust that you all are taking notes and definitely taking advantage of the information, because it ain't information like this you hear every day. Definitely giving honors to our national grand sheik for bringing forth this information, because we need to be in the know. We need to know. Yes, indeed. We got a total of 55 lines with us this evening. We'd like to thank you all for your presence and your energies as we just give our national grand sheik a minute to get his things together so he can deliver this information effectively. Islam. Yes, indeed.
Well, let me. I had this right in front of me. What can I do with it? Oh, okay. Well, let me just read this particular letter that was in an exhibit form pertaining to the situation. May the 16th, 1938. This was an exhibit pertaining to the case to validate his position in the movement. Because Islam, Brother E. Turner Hill, Grand Governor. He was the Grand Governor of Brooklyn, of the New York Territory. It says, I am glad to write you a few lines. And remember, this was part of the exhibit to the case. He said, I'm glad to write you a few lines for you under love, true peace, freedom, and justice, as these temples have not been registered in the government since 1928. You have been told you have to pay revenue to the temple. It is not so. There is a filing fee coming from the grand body. There was no leader for the Moorish Science Temple of America. I was elected Grand Sheik and President for the Moorish Science Temple of America December the 8th, 1936 by the grand body and established in the government, the object of which is to form, as is, to uplift fallen humanity and to teach those things necessary to make men and women become better citizens. Therefore, it is very necessary for you to know that I am the leader for all the Moorish Science Temples all over America. If you don't believe me, write to Springfield, Illinois, Edward G. Hughes, and ask Secretary of the State and ask them who is in charge of the Moorish Science Temple of America. And he will write and tell you then, and then you will want to have, then you want to have thinking and guessing. You won't have to be thinking and guessing. Dear brothers and sisters, think on your way. Read chapter 47 in the Holy Quran, start at the 13th verse, and see and see have you been complying with the laws of the prophet. Read your constitution and think on your way. The questionnaire and additional laws for the Moorish Americans by the Prophet Muhammad. Act 1. I told Brother Crumpy Bay that he may go tell all he knows of this about me and my work. I would like for all of your grand chiefs and grand governors to get in touch with me. If not, you will have trouble in the government. Then he signed this off. He sent this to Grand Chief J. Walter Neal, and the secretary was J. McGee Bay. And see, this particular case was generated pertaining to certain things that was so much internal strife after me, the ill passed, etc. And I just wanted to share that part. There's more to it, but I just wanted to share that so you can be very comfortable about the charter that we have and who gave it to whom, the significant authority behind it. And so by that being the case, there was a brother here, his name was Ronald Owens Bay. He's more so like a corporate advisor. He had sent letters to Brother Braswell Bay, Brother Jones Bay, regarding the situation and about the movement and what they should do to bring closure to the leadership. Brother Braswell Bay received the information and sent a letter to Cook County expressing the fact that he is a quote unquote the head person, which they denied. He gave Brother Jones Bay some information which they didn't have, and they played I guess a little. They scammed some things, but the information that he submitted to them, they used it, but then they dissed him, from what I was told. But nevertheless, so he had a case, I had two pertaining to F. Turner Hill. So we collaborated on the information. So he said, Brother Brad Baylow, I would advise for you to connect back with Connecticut to bring closure to this movement, which I did. And last year, as a matter of fact, it was January 21st, 2020. I revived the Connecticut Corporation and tied it back into corporation here in Maryland. So now you have two. You have the authority up in Connecticut going back to 1937 up to now when we established the articles in 1975. And when our prophet in the third form, Grand Chief Richardson Dingwell, established the articles in Maryland, he did not sign off of the articles of Grand Chief Richardson Dingwell. He signed off the articles of Prophet Noble Jelly III. And once he did that, that sealed the deal. And the articles were submitted to the U.S.A. administration and other officials. I had in 2018, I had the Department of Taxation and Assessment certify the republic as well as the corporation, which they wasn't supposed to do the republic because that's totally government, but they did it for me anyway. So pertaining to that, it gives us a level of advantage dealing with the national side to conform to the teachings of the prophet. If our prophet is teaching us that there's only but one issue for us to be recognized, so how is it that the Moors throughout this nation are going to be recognized when they don't have a paper trail to initiate themselves back into these various governmental agencies? That's why the prophet says there's only but one issue for us to be recognized, and it only comes through the connection. So what we are doing is connecting the membership back into the government as it was, not as it is. We're not connecting back under no de facto 13th, 14th, and 15th. We're going back according to the Union Republic, as our prophet indicates with your nationality card when he said that I am a citizen of the U period, F period, A period. That means the Republic, the Union. So dealing with our articles of incorporation, we are a profitable organization. Majority of the temples, I say 98%, are non-profit 501c3. And when you do that, you're committing your organization to Rome. Our prophet said, give the church and Christianity back. So why are you there? But I know why they're there, because that's where the money is. That's why they can't teach things national. And that's why people have been sidewhacked consciously regarding the true intentions of our prophet dealing with divine and national. But we was charged to do this national side. The government has confirmed and recognized what we do, from the military to the Congress to the State Department to Homeland Security. Whatever department you want to go into, we done been there with absolute proof for our truth. So some of the verbiage of our articles of incorporation here says this. The name of the profitable corporation is the Moorish Science Temple, the Divine and National Movement of North America Incorporated, number 13. Third, the purpose of which the corporation is formed are as follows. The said corporation is to conduct business and bring about the nationalization of all lands. Our prophet Noble Drew Ali did that on August the 1st, 2:52 p.m. 1928, when he took everything back. He nationalized all of North America according to his divine authority. There's no authority higher than divine. That's why the charter number is 1099. And that goes back to the year 1099 when the Christians took the Star and Crescent off of the temples in Jerusalem. That's why the prophet said, well, y'all had me 2,000 years, but I got you now. But when he took it back, that's why those of you who have the 1099 form, you will see a inverted R. That means direct, means royalty, noble. But he took it all back. And that's what caused the stock market to crash in 1929, and all of that was relating to what he did at the Havana Convention in 1928. They're not going to tell you, but that's what it was. So, continuing, so we deal with all the lands of finance, compensation, or reparations that are due under the ownership of the Moorish American nation, making the United States government responsible for our operation, colonization, and compensation to be complied with in conjunction with Section 17 of the 13th Article of Amendment with 20th Section and the 3rd Articles of the Compensated Emancipation Proclamation dated December 15, 1862. Well, it was introduced, the second annual address to Congress Lincoln did, President Lincoln. He introduced it on the 1st, but they wanted it as permanent part to the Constitution on December 15, 1862. The vote was 78 to 52. Permanent law, but you don't see none of this. This was supposed to be part of your constitutional foundation, but you don't see it. So then it also says, in Section 17 says, whenever any state word involuntary servitude is recognized or allowed, shall propose to abolish such servitude and shall apply for pecuniary assistance therein, the Congress may, in this discretion, grant such relief not exceeding $100 for each person liberated, but Congress shall not propose such abolishment or relief to any state. Congress may assist free persons of African descent to immigrate and colonize Africa. Then you go to from A to B. Every state wherein slavery now exists, which shall abolish the same therein, at any rate or times before the 1st day of January in the year of our Lord, 1900, shall receive compensation from the United States as follows, to wit. So now we can see that the states didn't comply, but there's a bill from Maryland, Bill number 685, where they applied for the compensation $10 million under Bill number 685. And it gives you the steps on how each governor is to apply to the Treasury through the executive office to receive the compensation. I mean, it gives you the steps. And it's so sad, but now you see the timeline. They had 37 years from 1863 to the year 1900 to facilitate our freedom, naturalization, colonization, and compensation. That didn't happen. The radical elements of the Congress controlled the Congress. But after they took President Lincoln out, then they devised a scheme to re-enslave us corporately up under the 14th Amendment, 1868. And in 1871, they sealed the deal with all the states becoming corporate. So continuing. And then it says, when you deal with that particular piece I just read, B, by the year 1900, well, as we know, and it was stated today by one of the noble brothers, they were supposed to fulfill our obligation, their obligation to us by the year 1900, but what they did, they circumvented everything and brought in an act of Congress by the statesman by the name of Charles Carroll, who was from Maryland. He had a plantation. It was called Carroll's Plantation. Here in Baltimore, it's down in southwest Baltimore. But now it's a park. It's called Carroll Park. But he's the one introduced. It took him 15 years, $20,000 of research to deal with this Negro. And from his determination of the research, they devised an act of Congress called Negro a Beast. And it says, the Negro a Beast, created with articulate speech and hands to do what? To better serve his master, the white man. And there's more to it. I'm just emphasizing certain things. But that's a law book. I've said many times, they are living by the law and we dying by it, because even when Senator Huckabee was running, dealing with the campaign, when he was on the stump back then, during the presidential campaign, he made reference to the fact that they're going according to the Dred Scott decision. That went by everybody. And that's why they can shoot us up in the street, hang us, maim us, drag us, murder us, knee on the neck, whatever atrocity that they can conceive, they gave it to us. And the reason why is because of how we've been classified and identified. When you don't have a national descent name to identify with, you're dead in the water. So how in the world can you have a national descent name under black, Negro, colored, etc.? But our prophet gave us a bullet point in Act 6, which is the master degree. That's why it's a master degree, because that resolves the issues and the problems that we may have as a people by doing his instructions. So let me continue. So then after this, when I made reference to this bill 685 here in Maryland, see, Maryland was the second state to ratify the 1320. Illinois was the second. So when it says this, Mose, now check this out. Now all this is in the Compensated Emancipation Proclamation. This verbiage is in our articles to validate our prophet and the policy of freedom. So it says this: the President of the United States shall deliver to every such state bonds of the United States bearing interest at the rate of, it's supposed to be 6% during that period, per annum to an amount equal to the aggregate sum of blank for each slave. Now that's why the prophet said don't give up your slave name, because you're going to get paid through that, through compensation because of your birth certificate. That's a monetary bond. Now all this is pertaining to your freedom, which you don't know. You're not going to find this, I'll be told, this nowhere but here, in this great organization, in the Moore School of Law and History, to be exact. That's why when these officials get these documents from us that we advise our members to submit to these various agencies, when they read them, they in awe. I tell the Moles all the time, I say, you're going to be a conversation piece, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Because they never seen it like this. And I'm telling you from my experiences and from others that I spoke to who brought forth the information to these various agencies. They in awe. Now, we had a connection up in New York with Governor Cuomo. And when we sent that, the staff that we had, when they went there, I told them certain things I couldn't make it because I was down in Florida taking care of some other temple business. But I told them certain things they're going to say. But when they see that paperwork, they're going to be in awe, which they were. And they gave us the governor's aid for whatever problems we had in New York to come through this particular person. But I'm just letting you know certain things on how serious this matter is and the role that we have to play to raise our people. Because you're not going to get it anywhere else. Many of us have been to school with degrees and don't have a job pertaining to that. But now, nothing is lost. We building a nation. We uplifting fallen humanity. And the only way you can do that is start utilizing this policy of freedom to substantiate that freedom pertaining to all of us. Law governs all events. This is divine law. This supersedes all the laws that you can encounter in any nation. So this divine. The movement, the government itself was set up under divine principles. So getting back to this particular language here, I'm just highlighting just to show you when I made reference to that Bill 685, Maryland applied to this process here. And then when you go to Section C of our articles, when it says this, it says all the slaves who have enjoyed actual freedom by the chances of the war at any time before the end of the rebellion shall be forever free. 13.2 don't give you that verbiage. 13 Amendment 20 section does, Section 19. But all owners of such who shall not have been disloyal shall be compensated for them at the same rates that is provided for states adopting abolishment of slavery, but in such a way that no slave shall be twice accounted for. Then check this. Article D says Congress, in the articles it was May when they introduced it, but once they ratified it, it became law, so now it's a must. Congress must appropriate money and otherwise provide for the colonization of free Moorish persons with their own consent at any place or places within the United States. We running around paying mortgages and paying for education and all that. But we don't know about this policy of freedom. We don't will be paying for none of that. This is incorporated into the Freedmen's Bureau Act. Big T. Muhammed did a section on this this past Saturday, where he had contacted me to ask me if I would allow him to reveal certain things. So certain things he did reveal, but he didn't give you all of it, but just gave you enough to stir your mindset on the importance of what this is. At some point in time, when you really get a chance to see what was allocated for us, it'll blow your mind. We're struggling for nothing. And nothing from nothing leaves nothing. I've been in meetings with these officials. They told us that we were right. Our staff have been to various meetings, whether it's Internal Revenue, Justice Department, FBI, etc. But this one particular meeting, officials told me, said, Black man, we know you're right. We just waiting for y'all to get yourselves together. They did try to assist us on 4 occasions with the finance. We messed all that up. I'm not going to get into that right now. But there was certain information that had to be divulged for them to confirm and do. Because, see, when you deal with the Emancipation Proclamation, when Lincoln's executive will, President Lincoln executive will says that the executive, the military, and naval authorities do what? Recognize. And then remember our prophet says there's only but one issue and that's supposed to be recognized, right? So you find that word recognize in the Emancipation Proclamation. Recognize, maintain. Then they got to maintain us. And do no act or acts to repress us in any effort we make for what? Our acts of freedom. We're not letting these people know that we want to go for our acts of freedom because we are so discombobulated, so diverse, don't want to come around the table, even though we have the only federal court case to validate all of this at our behalf, but yet the most don't want to sit around the table to see the importance of what this freedom policy represents. It's sad. But we're going to continue to do what we're doing. Allah got us. So it's more, I'm not going to read a whole lot because of the time, but I will also Act 6s and partners is also, well, no, let me just go through this just briefly. Then it says here, this is Roman numeral 2 in our article, it says in connection and compliance with the words national movement to operate the Moorish School of Law and History. That's why you're there, to teach our people, Moorish American, the things necessary to make them better citizens. You know, and see, when you realize certain lessons of life that has been hidden, and now you know the truth about yourself, you can't help but become a better citizen. Because, see, when you see all these damnable things that our people are betraying, and we are better than that, but they created this Negro. All that you see under the Negro mentality, the fussing, the cussing, the disrespect, lower moral values, and all of that, is the Negro mentality that they created, dealing with when they stripped us of our name and title. They created this Negro. That's why the law says the Negro created with articulate speech and hands. So the question is, who created the Negro? It was the slaveholder. He had to enslave us and do just that, strip us of our name and title, because that's the only way he could do it. As long as we stayed in our proper status, he couldn't have done it, because now we have substance. But outside of that, we dead. He's in control. So then we have Act 6 attached, and then we have to resolve the so-called Negro-Black dilemma within the state of Maryland and every state, etc. And then we give the legal basis for the above remedial action is in accordance with what? The Levitical Code. So I'm not going to read all of that, but I'm highlighting what it is so you can feel comfortable about what you're being taught. And I'm going to get to Section 4 of our articles. Now, it says, check this. Now, this is why we do the things that we are doing in the government. We are mandated according to these articles of incorporation. Check this. It says, it is imperative to the maintenance of the public peace that this corporation work in conjunction with the governor of the state of Maryland, the Secretary of Mental Health and Hygiene, and other state agencies, as well as the federal government, to mandate a national proclamation and general registration for the purpose of having naturalized all persons of Moorish descent who are otherwise improperly known as Negroes, black people, and colored folks, and any other misnomer or synonyms applied to the said persons as a result of their enslavement. The said registration is to take place in compliance with the above cited edicts. Then it gives you the location, which is here. You see, and then certain excerpts from the Prophet's authority is indicated here, and other things. And then we can issue charters to subordinate temples. Now, we didn't have any outside temples. We was headquartered. We had so many members back then, from the 70s up to the 90s. I mean, they were coming from everywhere. But corruption set in. Wherever you have good, you're going to have evil. Satan is right there with you. And your problem going to be within your own circle. If you ever notice anything that happens in any structure of government, company, etc., it's an in-house thing. And that's what took place. Corruption set in. And so when you read what it says to suppress all conspiracies hindering the implementation of the 13th Amendment 20 section, according to Section 16 of that amendment. So those of you who have it, I'll just read this. Section 16 says this: all conspiracies in any state to interfere with the lawful rights in any other states. From there, we have lawful rights, but not as Negroes and colors, etc. You don't have no lawful right, but as Moors we do. Now, a lot of these Moors come in these houses and whatnot, going to jail because they ain't on this page of freedom. And if we came around the table and dealt with it properly, we wouldn't have these problems. There wouldn't be nobody in jail because we're dealing with the law and we are going for our actual freedom. They don't supposed to repress us, but if you ain't come with the right verbiage of law, they're gonna deal with you. So, and it says, or against the United States shall be suppressed, and no state or the people thereof shall withdraw from this union without the consent of 3/4 of all the states expressed by the amendment proposed and ratified in the manner provided in Article 5 of the Constitution. See, that's what the Southerners did. They violated the Fifth Amendment. They never succeeded. They were just in rebellion. So, then it's more about your religious right according to the First Amendment, etc. So I just wanted to bring that part. So then we amended the Articles of Incorporation in 1997, and we brought it back. And this is what excerpts of it says. Let me just go down and just read certain things. But going back to what I just read about how we are to interact with these state officials and federal officials, that's why we do what we're doing, to meet with these government agencies, etc., because we're mandated to do it according to the policy of freedom and our Articles of Incorporation. So just in brief, I'll just read the last page of where we did the amendment. Now, we did this because we made us collective body. I didn't do this on my own. And we looked at the prophet's literature, his plea to a nation, when he says in his plea to the nation, which is this. Maybe once I read this, you'll get a better understanding why we amended the articles to be inclusive of the Moorish American National Republic. When you read the plea to the nation, the prophet makes reference to the fact that he's been misunderstood. Our members, the members of the Moorish Science Temple, have a great misunderstanding of what the movement is dedicated to, and they do. That's why there's no cohesiveness as we speak now pertaining to the national side, because there's a misunderstanding. So when our prophet said, "It is the great God alone," when he said, "It is the great God alone that guides the destiny of this divine and national movement," and I know all true American citizens are identified by national descent names to answer and apply to the free national constitution of this United States of America. So in dealing with that verbiage, we decided to amend our Articles of Incorporation to deal with the Moorish American nation, which is the Republic, and to identify with the prophet's instructions when he says to answer and apply to the free national constitution of this free national republic. So we, the Moorish American National Republic, and we dealing with the policy of freedom, and we taking you back to connect back into the free national constitution under the republic. But so many more, the prophet didn't bring no republic. But see, they don't understand the significance of what we did. Total government. We're not overriding the Moorish Science Temple of America. That's your foundation. That's why do you think the language is the Moorish Science Temple? That's the foundation. Then it's giving you what we are authorized to do, divine and national. Then it's letting you know it's a movement, and then it's giving you your jurisdiction, all of North America, and we incorporate to do business, not as a 501c3 or under the corporate 14th Amendment statutes. No, none of that applies to us. You have one government, two jurisdictions. We dealing with the original jurisdiction, which is your free national constitution, which is your organic constitution, those first 7 articles. That's where we are, connecting you back to what's truly yours. If the prophet brought you your nationality and birthright, you can't receive the birthright under the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment. That ain't happening. So look at what we're doing to satisfy our ills of society. We just got to start thinking what is real. It's not what I'm saying, it's what the law says. But this is the hidden piece. So that's why we did what we did. And it indicates this. Like I said, this was established in 1997. This is the same year that President Clinton had his staff people come here to Maryland, the Department of Taxation and Assessment, deal in executive order, and incorporate all the federal agencies to make them conform to the fact that we are labeled as resources. That's what we are, human resources. And then you give a breakdown of all it entails. Why do you think they got human resources all around the country? All about us. But you don't know. Planned Parenthood, all these different places, steady infringing on our rights. But as long as we are in the black, Negro, and color, they have the right to do the things that they're doing to us. Because we don't want to get right. Once we get right, then we have a voice. But what kind of voice do you have under black when you say Black Lives Matter? Our prophet teaches us they were marks of slavery, and it ended in 1865. So why are we still there? Something's wrong with the people, the picture, people. 1865, we are free. Free to do what? And under what law? But anyway, let me continue. I'm going to finish with this part. And then it says the Moorish American National Republic will remain headquartered in Baltimore, Maryland, and establish the Bureau of Moorish Affairs to be located in Washington, D.C., with an area office to be located in each state. Now, I'm sure each and every one of us realize that we need an office of Moorish Affairs in each state to handle our Moorish business, though. I'm sure you understand that, right? But look at what's going on, and that's why there's so much confusion. We don't have no office in each state to handle our business. But this is what we're predicated to do. And each state in which business must be conducted by and for Moorish Americans, etc. The Bureau of Moorish Affairs will have the full authority to work through and with the government of the state, as well as any and all state agencies and the federal government to fulfill the mandate of the Moorish American National Republic. We will be issuing naturalization cards, certificates, and oaths, as well as governmental license, permits, etc., pertaining to the Moorish American National Republic. And the government got all of this. They do. And then we signed off on it. So just to give you a list of some of the departments that we have registered, I'm going to highlight just a few, such as the Bureau of Moorish Affairs, the Moorish Department of Treasury, the Moorish Department of State, the Moorish Department of Highway Safety and Motor Carriage, the Moorish National Bureau of Vital Statistics, the Moorish Supreme Court of Equity and Truth, the Moorish School of Law and History, the Moorish Department of Agriculture, the Moorish Outreach Bail Bonding Company. And that's just to name a few. So I'm just letting you know, I forgot the Moorish Department of Interior. So I'm going to stop there. But just to let you know, we rocking and rolling. So you can feel comfortable about where you are and what needs to be done. That's why the prophet says work for everybody. You got your degrees, you got your skills, then let's do something with it. Can't do it out there. We've been here all our lives, and the foreigners come in here and get loans and perks, and you can't even get a dime to open up a business. Why is that? Because of how you classified and identified. When you mark yourself in as black or African American, they know that they can flip you because you don't know you. So all this is relevant, Mose, to what we have to do, must do, pertaining to sustaining our freedom. So we're taking it all back to the Free National Constitution, which is your organic constitution. And that's what this is all about. That's why we do the things that we're doing, and that's why we have a paper trail that the government has confirmed, whether it's the military, they signed off on all of this. Y'all just don't know. And, a lot of people have come in the outdoor, getting information, stealing, copying and paste. The brother, I think we want to call, might have been on Big T's own brother Marcel Walton there. We naturalized him in 2005. I heard he was telling people he naturalized me, please. Oh my God. But I told him he was going to jail. I even told the Empress she was going to jail. I was close with her too. They didn't listen. They didn't listen. They didn't listen. But nevertheless, it is what it is. So I think I'll leave that for now. I trust I've given you something to think about with absolute proof of my truth. And there's more to it. I'm just giving you a pinch of what this is. So it is what it is. Okay, my noble brother, where are we?
Islam National Grand.
Islam, Mo.
All right. We're going to go to our latter question we had on the floor. I often hear Moorish Americans speak as if they are free in this land of slaves made by debt, coercion, and mind control. Are the laws of this country different from Moors? What laws are y'all using to be free? Islam?
Islam. Well, the noble brother spoke on it earlier. I just skimmed it a little bit just a minute ago, but being that the question is posed the way it is, I'll state this. Are the laws of this country different from Moors? What laws are y'all using to be free? Well, always dealing with our prophet and what he has directed us to do. We are under the pre-national constitution, which is your organic constitution, which comprises of the first 7 articles. Mentioned with the Articles of Association of 1774, the Moorish president was Peyton Randolph. We had 8 Moorish presidents before George Washington. That matured into the Declaration of 1776, further matured into the Articles of Confederation of 1778, and thus and then becomes a more perfect union in 1787. At the Continental Convention of 1787, which comprises the first 7 articles, which is the Moorish foundation. Why? Because we were and still is the government. We already had a government in place prior to them coming. Brought the Europeans into our house and made them a part of what? We the people. So when you read the preamble of the Constitution where it says, we the people of the United States in order to form a more perfect union, that was an order that they comprise to form a more perfect union. And within the confines of that was to establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, and to secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish what? This Constitution for the United States of America. So then you got them in 3s. You got the United States, you have the Union, then you have the Constitution for the United States of America. Everything is in 3s. We that foundation. That's why you see them 2 symbols on a $1 bill, because we the pyramid to the left, we the creditors, we the house of the gods. That's why the pyramid is there. And it's all encrusted in 13. Wherever you go on the planet, you're going to see pyramids. There are more pyramids here in the West than there is anywhere. They ain't going to let you know that. The step pyramids are the oldest ones, because there were 2 Egypts. Egypt here in the West was first. Then they did the Egypt in the East. But Circle 7 will identify that when the prophet let us know, dealing with the Book of Secrets, which is the Circle 7, which is the 5th chapter of Revelation. The Book of the 7 Seals, that's the secret. And when you got to understand the ancient people prior to the flood, they give us the history after the flood. That's the game they played. But who were the ancient people prior to the flood? It was the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Moabites, the Amorites. They were the ancient people prior to the flood. But there's more. So when you see that word, this Constitution, thereafter you see to go to our divine Constitution bylaws, and our prophet says that we are part and parcel of this said government, this Constitution for the United States of America. See, that's where the this come in. This said government, he take you right back there with the word this said government. So what is the said government? Constitution for the United States of America. Going back to the Union Republic. That's where the prophet was going. That's why that was when you see him. Those of you who have the most divine Constitution bylaws, you see the prophet. He's in the doorway. His right hand is pointing to Act 6. That's the master degree. You got 5 tiers of law in there in Act 6. So to even put more credence to that statement, you got to do with the Union. The Union is much older than the Constitution. It was formed, in fact, by the Articles of Association in 1774. It was matured and continued in the Declaration of Independence in 1776. It was further matured and the faith of all the then. And this is Lincoln's philosophy, man. Common sense he's giving. And he said, in the faith of all the then 13 states expressly plighted and engaged that it should be perpetual by the Articles of Confederation in 1778. And finally, in 1787, one of the declared objects for ordaining and establishing the Constitution was to form a more perfect union. But if the destruction of the union by one or by a part only of the states be lawfully possible, the union is less than before, the Constitution having lost the vital element of perpetuity. Now, Deputy Sheik Roy Bay made a statement about someone challenging Justice Taney about the Negro. Well, Lincoln challenges it also. Lincoln says, Lincoln challenges Justice Taney's historical facts. This is what Lincoln has said. I have said in something that Dred Scott's decision was in part based on assumed historical facts. Why would he say that? I'm going to get to that in a minute. Which were not really true. Well, see, the reason why he said it was on assumed historical facts because there's no Negro. That was the creation of the slavehold. He classified and identified. Remember Roots, the man Kunta Kinte? He was a Moorish descent. He fought hard to keep the name. Finally got him to submit. Man, he's Toby Jones. Slave Master Jones, all his slaves are Jones. If he was a Baptist in the church, they were forced to go into the church. That's why we Christians to this day, we were forced to deal with Christianity, people. That was not our religion of our ancestors. But everywhere you go, they're going to play the game on your mind, show you the white boy, the pale skin, Jesus. Please, continuing. So now, he says, I ought not to have the subject without giving some reasons for saying this. I therefore give an answer or two, which I think fully sustains me. Now remember, President Lincoln, prior to him becoming president, he was a lawyer. And he won this case that this brother was not a Negro, but a Moor. All that ties into this. A Moor. But people say, oh, Lincoln do nothing for us. Well, you don't know the history of this man. You know of him, but you don't know him. Then it says, Chief Justice Taney, in delivering the majority opinion of the court, insisted great length that the Negroes was no part of the people who made and for whom was made the Declaration of Independence or the Constitution of the United States. Now, he's right. Wasn't no Negroes there. They were Moors. At that Continental Convention of 1787 was 35 of us, and 20 of them. Should have been 50 of us, the chiefs, but they didn't send all the delegates because they didn't trust in Europeans. They wouldn't call themselves Negroes, black folks. See what I'm saying? So now continue. So then, on the contrary, Justice Curtis, in his dissenting opinion, shows this, that in 5, and this is where you're going to see us, that in 5 of the 13 states to which New Hampshire, Massachusetts, New York, New Jersey, and North Carolina, free Moors were voters, and in proportion to their numbers had the same part in making the Constitution that the white people had. Now, we are the original white people. White means pretty, pretty means God, God means what? Rule of the land. So you don't want to consider yourself as white. We are the gods of the land. Through our descent nature, our lineage. White means purity. Why do you think there's a one-drop rule? Show you just how pure our blood is as opposed to someone else's. So then it says that give you the states. He shows this with so much particularity as to leave no doubt of this truth. And as a sort of conclusion on that point, holds the following: the Constitution was ordained and established by the people of the United States through the action in each state of those persons who were qualified by its laws to act thereon in behalf of themselves and all other citizens of the state. And in some of the states we have seen, Moorish persons were among those qualified by law to act on the subject. These Moorish persons were not only included in the body of the people of the United States, we the people, by whom the Constitution was ordained and established. Let me read that again. By whom the Constitution was ordained and established. But in at least 5 of the states, they had the power to act, and doubtless did act by the suffrages upon the question of its adoption. Now, let's continue with this. I might be moving into. Let me continue with this. Now, check this, y'all. I've advocated that so many of you, if you can get the book Indian Giver by Jack Williford, there's a chapter in there called The Founding Fathers. I want to highlight some information. And one of the brothers, I think it was Brother W.C. Cookbay, who made a reference to the Great Conspiracy. Somebody might have been Levi I can't remember. But I just want to add to you all who have the Great Conspiracy. I'm going to give you about 7 chapters that's going to lead you into the policy. Now, the whole book is a good read. But if you read the retrospect of slavery, that's the first chapter. Deal with freedom proclaimed to all, freedom at last assured, 13th Amendment in the Senate, compensating Emancipation Proclamation, turning back the hand. And there's one more, I just can't think of it right now. But those chapters will lead you into the policy. It will pinpoint what we're teaching. That way you don't have to scare yourself through the whole book, even though the book is a good read, but I just wanted to pinpoint these chapters to help you direct yourself in the understanding of what has taken place. But see, when I say the truth does 3 things: to set you free, make you free, and keep you free. These laws set us free, but we don't know how they made us free. So by us coming to the Moorish School of Law and History, now you're learning how these laws made you free. And we're giving you the law that set you free. But it's incumbent upon you to take the time to do the research and read, to instill within you, internalize the teachings and this truth to better yourself. So the book Indian Giver, let me just share this information. That's going to help us understand some things. Now, on page 173, now, and remember the chapter is called The Founding Indian Fathers. It says the Founding Fathers of the United States judiciously assembled bits and pieces of many different systems to invent a completely new one. Check in there. The Founding Fathers. And they may like the Founding Fathers were pale-skinned brothers and sisters, or pale-skinned brothers. Wasn't you? You had nothing to do with it. But you had everything to do because you represent the Union. You represent the Republic. There can't be no republic without us taking the seats back. Because we established it. Remember, we brought these Europeans into our house and made them a part of the government, the Union. So it says that they assemble bits and pieces of many different systems to invent a completely new one. And fashioning the new system, they even borrowed some distinctive elements from the American Indians. There's no such thing as an American Indian. The Indians are in India. That word India is another mark of slavery. The first time the word Indian was used when the Spaniards came here in the islands. There's a book called what is it? It'll come to me. Let me continue reading. It said the founding fathers faced a major problem when it came time to invent the United States. They represented under the Articles of Incorporation, under the Articles of Confederation, 13 separate and sovereign states. How could one country be made from all 13 without each one yielding its own power? See, that's why all the states were separate and sovereign. Reportedly, the first person to propose a union of all the colonies and to propose a federal model for it was the Iroquois chief Constantinople. Speaking at an Indian British Assembly in Pennsylvania in July 1774. Now remember, we lost our birthrights in 1774. He complained that the Indians found it difficult to deal with so many different colonial administrations, each with its own policy. It would make life easier for everyone involved if the colonists could have a union that allowed them to speak with one voice. Now, the other thing, people, those colonists that they make like they were Europeans, they were Moors, y'all. There were 5 separate kings out of Europe. King James, King Charles, all of them were Moors. The colonists that came here, they were us. They whitewashed the characters, but let me continue. I don't want to confuse you more. So let me continue. It would, he not only proposed that the colonies unify themselves, but told them how they might do it. He suggested that they do it as his people had done and form a union like the League of the Iroquois. Hiawatha and Digawilla founded the League of the Iroquois sometime between AD 1000 and 1450 under a constitution they called the Kamarakakoa, or Great Law of Peace. So what is the Great Law of Peace? Islam. Does not Islam mean peace? They derived the Constitution under the Great Law of Peace, which was Islam, because that was our religion. All of us were Muslims. The Prophet tell you that in the Circle 7. He tell you, we were all Muslims. They brought Christianity to these shores. That's why when you see these Indian pictures, so-called, you see them with their turbans on with feathers within the turban. Continuing. Then it says, when the Europeans arrived in America, the League constituted the most extensive and important political unit north of the Aztec civilization. And remember, I've said to you all, the Prophet gave us the bullet point. The Moorish Americans, and letting you know your family name, are descendants of who? The ancient Moabites, who inhabited where? The northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa, which is northwest and southwest Africa. So all the inhabitants here in this western hemisphere is of Moorish descent, whether you was an Inca, Mayan, Aztec, Olmec, all of Moorish descent. We got pictures of the Olmec with the pheasants, the statue down in the East Island. They were called the Moai. Wake up, people. Then it says, from earliest contact, the Iroquois intrigued the Europeans. and they were the subject of many amazed reports. Benjamin Franklin, however, seems to have been the first to take their system as a potentially important model by which the settlers might be able to fashion a new government. Benjamin Franklin first became acquainted with the operation of the Indian political organization in his capacity as the official printer for the colony of Pennsylvania. His job included publications of the records and speeches of diverse Indian assemblies and treaty negotiations. But following his instinctive curiosity, he broadened this into a study of Indian culture and institutions. Now I'm going to stop because there's so much more that I'm looking at the time. But people, y'all need to get this book. Very informative. It will enlighten you on this hidden history about us. This book going to explain some things. Mastery, I've said we the masters of the art of living and the science of life. This going to explain some things along with other literature. There's a book called Dirt. Oh, that's serious. Oh, my God. That costs a lot of money now. But I'm just saying, people, we got to start reading and understanding and comprehending what we're reading. Because this thing is real. This man got a plan. But Allah is the best of plan. Why do you think he sent us the prophet? To circumvent any plan that these cronies have. Nothing better than the prophet and his teachings or his authority. The Pope has to submit to the prophet. Charter we have supersedes all of them. There's no Masonic charter on the land higher than the prophet. Believe that. They ain't gonna let you know. But anyway, I'm gonna put the book down and trusting that you take the time to get it, help you out. So now, let's see. Dealing with the policy of freedom and whatnot, right? Okay. The laws. I'll ask a question. Wait a minute, where am I? I'm out, brother.
Islam National Grand.
Am I still on number 2?
Yes, that's what you just finalized, number 2. Islam.
Okay, Islam. Thank you, man. I just want to be. Well, let me just add this real quick because I'm looking at the time. Most we got to understand. We always ask people, "Are you free?" And if you're free, tell us what law made you free. Are you a citizen? What law makes you that? And we get so many different arrays of answers because the people really don't know. But we free on paper. We just haven't manifested yet. And the only law to make you a citizen is the 14th Amendment and on the corporate side, the de facto side. But the law that makes you a citizen under your national side is the Hebrew code, the Hebrew law. That's why it says, stemming from March 31st, 1864, it says, by complying with the requirements of that law, we become citizens. Entitled to what? All the amenities and privileges of who? The native Hebrew. That's who we are. Until we do that, that's why we do the naturalization process. Article 1, Section 8, Clause 4, to establish a uniform rules of naturalization. It's right there. So it's up to you to wake up and realize what it is that needs to be done to substantiate you and the laws that governs you. So this thing is so beautiful. I mean, just to know. And anyway, I also want to add this to it too. 1883 decision. I'm just going to highlight when the Supreme Court declared it unconstitutional. Being that we talk about this law, this 14th Amendment, 1967. They brought it back to the Congress, and they declared still then it was unconstitutional, never was ratified. But I'm going to read the 1883 decision of the people that determined that these amendments were stricken. But we've been living alive since 1883. When a man has emerged from slavery and by the aid of beneficial legislation has shaken off the inseparable commitments of that state, there must be some stage in the progress of his elevation when he takes the rank of a mere citizen and ceases to be the special favorite of the laws. And that's what this black Negro person is. They special favorites of the laws. And when his rights as a citizen or a man are to be protected in the ordinary modes by which other men's rights are protected. There were thousands of free colored people in this country before the abolition of slavery, enjoying all the essential rights of life, liberty, and property, the same as white citizens. Yet no one at that time thought that it was any invasion of their personal status as freemen, because they were not admitted to all of the privileges enjoyed by white citizens, or because they were subjected to discriminations in the enjoyment of accommodations and inns, public conveyances, and places of amusement. Mere discrimination on account of race or color was not regarded as badges of slavery. If since that time the enjoyment of equal rights in all these respects has become established by constitutional amendment, it is not by force of the 13th Amendment, which merely abolished slavery, but by force of the 14th and 15th Amendments. On the whole, we are of the opinion that no continence of authority for the passages of the law in question can be found in either the 13th or 14th Amendments to the Constitution, and no other ground of authority for its passage being suggested, it must necessarily be declared void, at least so far as this operation in the several states are concerned. This conclusion disposes the cases now under consideration in the cases of the U.S. versus Ryan and of the Robinson versus Memphis and C.B. Company. The judgment must be affirmed. In other cases, the answer to be given will be that the first and second sections of this Act of Congress of March 1st, 1875, entitled an act to protect all citizens and their civil and legal rights, are unconstitutional and void, and that judgment should be rendered upon the several indictments in those cases accordingly. And it is so ordered. So you don't see this information. But everybody's rallying behind the 14th Amendment because that's about civil rights and citizenship, and that's de facto, is unconstitutional, but that's where the money is. So I want to just bring that to your attention. And then this last piece, oh man, almost 10:30 again. Well, maybe I'll bring this last piece back. Almost 10:30. The first question, I just wanted to read a couple of things with that and get this off the tape. Maybe I'll just do it. Maybe I can do it in about 7 minutes. Okay. If we as Moors have our own government, what lawful means can validate this claim? Well, first of all, as was stated earlier by the noble brothers and myself, we are not under the shadow government, which is de facto, which is the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments. That's the shadow government. President Trump said he's going to, what did he say? He's going to clean the, or he's going to do something with the swamp, clean the swamp. That's what he's talking about, the cable. They're dealing with these laws, and they want to take everything back to the Republic. So, let's see what they're talking about. The two constitutions in the United States. The first was illegally suspended in favor of the Vatican Crown Corporation in 1871. Now, remember, y'all, dealing with that first question, if we as Moors have our own government, what lawful means can validate this claim? I'm going to just highlight the 16th. Refer to the organic or the free national constitution of the Union. Refer to the warning of 1928. Refer to Act 6. Refer to the first 7 articles of the Constitution, we the people. And we got to remember this whole Western Hemisphere was governed according to the great law of peace. for our federation. And by that being the case, we can see the role that we played. The whole Western Hemisphere was under the Moorish Empire. Anytime you have an empire, there are many nations in it. So, continuing. Since 1871, the United States President and the United States Congress have been playing politics under a different set of rules and policies. American people do not know that there are two constitutions in the United States. The first penned by the leaders of the newly independent states of the United States in 1776, and on July 4, 1776, the people claimed their independence from the crown, temporal authority of the Roman Catholic Pope, and democracy was born. That word democracy is demonic. That word demonic is in it. Nothing in the Constitution talking about or using the word democracy. It's the republic. So why are they going there? But they play with it about, oh, democracy, and they done spread this web all over the planet. Oh, you go in these other countries, they want to be a democracy, please. Then it says, and for 95 years, the United States people were free and independent, but the freedom ended in 1871 when the original Constitution for the United States of America was changed to the all caps, capital, all caps, the Constitution of the United States of America. Fast forward. Now, as of 1871, the United States isn't a country, it's a corporation. And in preparation for stealing America, the puppets of the Roman Catholic Pope banking cabal had already created a second government, which is a shadow government designed to manage what the people believe was a democracy. Well, like I said, the shadow government is the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment. That's the shadow government. What really was an incorporated United States together, this chimera, this two-headed monster, disallowed the people all the rights of sua juris, you and your sovereignty. Fast forwarding again. Next time, closing with this. It is becoming increasingly apparent to American citizens that government is no longer being conducted in accordance with the U.S.A. organic constitution or within states according to state constitution. Wow. People have recognized for more than 150 years that the rich and powerful often corrupt individual officials or exert undue influence to get legislation passed that favors their interests. And you see what's going on. These suckers control everything. The man that controls your habits controls you. And it's all being controlled through bogus de facto laws, 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments. Corporate. We all are corporate slaves. Most Americans still cling to the naive belief that such corruption is exceptional and that most of the institutions of society, the courts, the press, and law enforcement agencies will largely comply with the Constitution and the law in important matters. Well, a lot of times when they go to these tribunals and when things get a little antsy, what do? They plead the fifth. They plead the fifth. So they try to get it out, deal with the fifth. That's your free national constitution. But nevertheless, they expect that these corrupting forces are disunited and in competition with one another so that they tend to balance one another. You see what they're doing? What's going on now? The government is shut down. We ain't seen the worst yet, y'all. Things gonna be changing. Mark my words. Be prepared. Mounting evidence makes it clear that the situation is far worse than most people think, and it is. That during the last several decades, the Constitution which is your organic free national constitution, for the United States of America has been effectively overthrown, and that it is now observed only as a facade to deceive and placate the masses. So what we are doing, people, under the instruction and the thought of the Honorable Prophet Noble Drali, we keeping the union alive. We bringing it back. The union is perpetual. And we don't always have that nuclear force of divinity on our side to straighten this mess out. Who else is talking and doing what we're doing? No one else. But Allah got this. Got all of us. We about our Father's work. And Allah is protecting us continuing. What has replaced it is the many called the shadow government. So they use the word again, the shadow government. Most people don't know what the shadow government represents or what it is and how it applies to us. But as I stated, it's the 13th, 2, 14th, and 15th Amendments. That's the shadow government they've been utilizing on us for all these decades. And by that being the case, it created with the illegal passing of the Act of 1871. You see how it all connects. It still, for the most part, operates in secret because you don't know about it. They give you plausible deniability about everything because its control is not secure, and it's not. That's why it's crumbling there. The exposure of this regime and this operation must now become a primary duty of citizens. That's why we're doing what we're doing, people who still believe in the rule of law. Everything is governed by law. But this law is the unseen. All praise to Allah for sending us our prophet Noble Droughtley because he broke the seal for us to see what was unseen. Now we can manifest what is real. And in the freedoms and independence which the U period, S period, A period is supposed to represent. So I'm putting a period behind my conversation, people. It is 10. Did I make the time? 10:30 so? Well, trusting. And like I said, I applaud my brothers for doing an excellent job in demonstrating the questions on the floor and trusting people that continue to come back to these calls. Because see, what we talking and demonstrate, you're not going to get nowhere. Really, you're not. And we're not pouncing on our chest. But it is what it is. This is real. And we need one another. Really, we do, because out of one there's many, out of many there's one. We the one where all the many came from, and we got masterminds. We really do. We just gotta rechannel that energy and do the right thing for humanity. That's what this is all about. What we're gonna do is gonna save the planet. If we don't do what we are obligated to do, this planet is destroyed. Believe what I'm saying. Nature, Mother, is upset. Mother is angry, and Mother is going to show the people of this planet who's the boss. Islam, my people, always loving you, trusting you love yourselves and your brothers and sisters when you see them. Islam, Islam, Islam. Thank you, Mo. Peace.
Islam. And thank you for summarizing our call and coming back and recapping and giving us all the jewels, as you always do. National Grand Sheik of the Moorish Science Temple, the Divine and National Movement of North America Incorporated, number 13, the Moorish American National Republic, is none other than our National Grand Sheik, Joel Bratton Bay. Appreciate you much, National Grand, for all you have done, will do, and haven't done yet. Love you much, National Grand.
Thank you, Mo, and everyone else. Thank you.
Islam. Well, Moors, we have a total of 54 lines on the call, but at this time, we're going to begin to close out. But you can catch us here the same time, same place, same space, next week's creation. But at this time, we're going to close the same way we open. So can I please have everyone who is able to stand erect, facing towards the east, heels together, toes apart, separated at a 45-degree angle, upper arms parallel to the floor, forearms perpendicular, 5 fingers erect and together on the left, and 2 fingers erect and together on the right. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation. by night and by day, through his holy prophet, Drew Ali. Ameen. Trusting everyone has a safe rest of the week. Keep safe, stay sane. Until next Sunday's creation, much love and peace, peace, peace.